Do you copy? You're already in enemy territory, and somebody might be listening in. From here on out, we'll be using code names to refer to each other. Your code name for this mission will be Naked Snake. I'll be referring to you as Snake from now on. You're not to mention your real name. What, you don't like snakes? You've eaten one before, haven't you? I'm glad to hear that. Be careful, you might not have a choice.
What about you, Major? What should I call you?
Let's see. I'll be Tom. Call me Major Tom. This will be a sneaking mission. You must not be seen by the enemy. You must leave no trace of your presence. Is that clear? This kind of infiltration is the Fox unit's speciality. In other words, weapons and equipment are procured on site. That goes for food as well. You're completely naked, just as your name implies. No, there's a good reason for that. I'll tell you later when the time is right. You've been issued a knife and a tranquilizer gun. Use them to hunt for food. You'll also find some medical supplies in your backpack. I see. Well, you'd better go back and get it then. You know where it is? To climb a tree, stand in front of a tree that's covered in ivy and press the action button. I'll be monitoring your progress over the radio. We can't risk violating Soviet airspace, but I'll be in the gunship. My frequency is 140.85. I'll give you a call if I need to talk to you. If you need to talk to me, use the send function. Okay, Snake, go get your backpack. I see you've retrieved your backpack, Snake. To equip a weapon, it's necessary to take it out of your backpack. In the survival viewer, choose Weapon from the backpack. Your available weapons will be displayed in a window in the upper left. From that list, choose the weapon you want to equip and press the Enter button. For other equipped items, just do the same thing from Item. Yep, that's right. Survival is fundamental to this mission. After you've been out in the field for a while, your stamina will start to drop. If your stamina gets too low, it'll affect your performance. You won't be able to shoot accurately, for example, and your wounds won't heal as smoothly. Keep an eye on your stamina so you don't run out. To recover lost stamina, you can hunt for local flora and fauna. You can use either your tranquilizer gun or your knife to hunt. That's right, it's been fitted with its own suppressor. However, the suppressor will deteriorate every time you fire. Once its durability reaches 0, the noise suppression effect will be gone. So don't get too trigger-happy with it. The suppressor's durability is shown in the icon. Any weapons and equipment beyond what you're carrying now, you'll have to find as you go. Solo covert actions are standard Fox operating procedure. You can't leave any traces of your presence. No weapons, equipment, footprints, sweat, or bodily wastes. The same goes for bullets and cartridges, too. Your presence in enemy territory is already a violation of international conventions of warfare. There aren't supposed to be any American soldiers in Russia. It could spark an international incident. You can't let anyone see you. You can't let the enemy know you're there. This is a stealth mission. You're a ghost, Snake, in every sense of the word. And there'll be no rescue if you're captured. The military and US government will deny any involvement in the affair. I'm afraid so. You've been given a fake death pill for that purpose. SIS guidelines stipulate that soldiers on covert ops like this one be issued a potassium cyanide capsule. Tape it to your body so you can take it when you need to. Use it if you're taken prisoner by the enemy. It'll send you into a state of false death for a short time. Just take the revival pill. That's the one. But be careful. If you remain in a state of false death for too long, nothing will be able to bring you back. Remember that. Right. Correct. The mission rests entirely in your hands. Relax. There's a support team ready to back you up over the radio. I'll introduce them to you. This time, survival is of utmost importance. The first member of the support team will be in charge of monitoring your physical condition, acting as a medic, so to speak, as well as recording your mission data. She's a member of Fox as well, and she's here on the gunship with me. She's also in charge of recording your mission data. Whenever you want to save, send a message over the reserved save frequency, 140.96. There's one more person I want to introduce you to, Snake. Speaking of snakes, you remember the boss, don't you? A legendary soldier and your mentor. Actually, it was the boss that got the DCI's authorization in the first place. She's going to be serving as Fox's mission advisor. She also helped me plan this mission. She and I were at SAS together. The boss is communicating with us by radio from aboard a Permit-class submarine in the Arctic Ocean. Your mission is to retrieve Dr. Sokolov. Dr. Sokolov is being held in an abandoned factory located to the north of your current position. Avoid heavy combat and don't let anyone see you. Don't forget that this is a stealth mission. Snake, your presence in Soviet territory is already a violation of international law. We can't let the Kremlin find out that the CIA and the American government are involved. Contact with the enemy is strictly prohibited. Don't engage them in battle either. This is a stealth mission. Got that? Your objective, Sokolov, is inside the factory. They should be holding him in a room in the northeast section. Be careful. Your mission is to bring Sokolov back alive. He must not be exposed to any kind of danger. Do not approach Sokolov while in the alert phase. Oh, and one more thing, Snake. No, it's just that when you get to Sokolov, I want you to tell him something from me. Sorry for being so late. Yes. Good work, Snake. Now hurry up and get Sokolov to the recovery point. We'll rendezvous with you there. What about the sentries? I see. We lost contact with the boss some time ago. It's probably just a weak signal. Just hurry and get Sokolov out of there. I read you. Snake, you all right? A GRU colonel? Sokolov was being guarded by the KGB and hunted by GRU? Snake, it sounds like this could be even hotter than Cuba. I agree. You'd better hurry. We're counting on you. Loud and clear. Glad to see you landed safely. Snake, let's go over your mission objectives one more time. Rescue Sokolov. Find out what's happened to the Shagohod, then destroy it. And finally, eliminate the boss. This mission will be codenamed Operation Snake Eater. Don't forget about Colonel Volgin. I know, but that was the Kremlin's demand. If supporting the current regime helps us avoid a nuclear exchange, then that's what we'll do. Our priorities are the rescue of Sokolov and the destruction of the Shagohod. Hold on, Snake. I'm changing my codename. It turns out Tom wasn't the most auspicious choice. Well, the truth is, when I chose my codename, I picked the wrong one. Did you ever see the movie The Great Escape? It came out last year. Anyway, it's based on a true story about prisoners who escaped from a POW camp in Nazi Germany. The prisoners dig 3 tunnels as part of their plan, but the Nazis find 2 of the tunnels before they're finished. The prisoners succeed in escaping by using the last remaining tunnel. The names of those 3 tunnels were Dick, Harry, and Tom. Yes, that's exactly right. At least, that was the plan. But I got the name wrong. The one they escaped in was Harry. Tom was one of the unlucky tunnels. It was discovered by the Nazis before it was finished. I watched the movie again just to make sure. In fact, I even ordered the actual film from the movie company. You know, let's just use 0, like we've been doing all along. From square 0, my frequency is 140.85. Oh, I almost forgot. Paramedic is with us again on this mission. If we fail, she'll have her medical license revoked. It's more or less the same kind of fate. Her frequency is the same as during the Virtuous mission, 145.73. She'll be recording your mission data as well, just like the last time. That frequency is also the same, 140.96. And there's one more person on your support team. His name is Mr. Sigint. He's an expert on the latest in weapons and equipment technology. You'll be going up against some of the world's most advanced weaponry when you infiltrate the research facility. If you have any questions, just ask him. His frequency is 148.41. Adam, your KGB contact, is waiting for you at the abandoned factory up ahead. Yes, meet up with Adam first. He's cleared the way for you to rescue Sokolov. You'll know once you reach the factory. The whole area's been polluted by the fallout from that nuclear blast. No one else would dare come close. The password is, "Who are the Patriots?" and "Lali Lule Lo." You've been equipped with a 45 for this mission. Be careful, it's noisy. The circumstances are different this time. You're now on an official mission for the United States government. It would be necessary to make your presence known to a certain extent, to the Khrushchev regime at the very least. But remember, this is still a sneaking mission. Snake, if you fail this mission, it will mean an all-out nuclear war. Keep that in mind and proceed with extreme caution. I read you, Snake. You will what? That's not good. Enemy scouts are going to come looking for you. No, that's impossible. The man the boss is working with, Volgin, isn't exactly on speaking terms with Khrushchev. Snake, I know how you're feeling. It's hard for me to believe, too, that a legendary hero like the boss would go over to the Russians, that she'd double-cross us like this. But that's how it is, and if you don't accept it, you'll never be able to beat her. You've got to do it, Snake. She's your enemy and your objective. Enough. Hurry to the factory where Adam is waiting. Scouts have probably already been sent out to investigate the explosion. You've lost your weapon, right? That means you've got no chance of winning in a battle situation. Whatever you do, don't let them see you. Did you manage to escape? Be careful. In your present state, you're practically naked. You don't have a single decent weapon and you'll never survive in a battle. Take some time and pull yourself together. Eva says she's recovered your equipment, so rendezvous with her as soon as possible to get your gear back. Use the escape route Eva set up for you. Go down into the sewers through the manhole in the northwest section of Groznygrad. Start out by exiting the holding cells and heading northwest. Snake, are you all right? That was a close call. You were halfway drowned at the bottom of the river. Almost crossed over to the other side. Something on your mind, Snake? Yes, I've heard of him. He was an uncanny soldier who fought alongside the boss. The Sorrow was a man with, well, special powers. He had ESP, which was the subject of extensive research in the Soviet Union at the time. He was especially gifted as a medium, someone who can communicate with the spirit world and evoke the spirits of the dead. In other words, he could talk to ghosts. They say he could find out what was going on in a battle by talking to dead soldiers. I don't know the details. Why don't we ask Sigint? Snake, I see you've managed to sneak into the hangar. The completed Phase 2 Shagohod represents a grave threat to the West. We can't allow it to be mass-produced. You've got to destroy it. Well, I wouldn't exactly say it's safe, but Khrushchev is a shrewd leader. I can't imagine he'd use it for anything other than deterrence. Volgin, however, is a different story. He's planning to use the Shagohod to turn the Cold War into a blazing hot one. We can't let him have it. That leaves just one more mission for you to carry out. Exactly. For now, just focus on destroying the Shagohod. I'll let Sigint fill you in on how to destroy it. We're counting on you, Snake.
Okay, I'll be waiting for you at the bridge.
Hurry, Snake. Is Eva taking care of the escape route? Are you sure? She's been out of radio contact for some time now. All right then, we'll hurry up and get out of there. Snake, are you all right? Snake, you'll take the lead and break through the enemy's line of defense. Eva will ordinarily be following behind you. If you lie on your belly, she'll lie down as well. If you slip and fall off a cliff, she'll follow right behind. You can call out to Eva by pressing the action button. Head to the lake along with Eva. Snake, the lake is just over that cliff. Eva should be able to climb it if you help her. Keep her close to you. Oh, and Snake, the crew isn't watching anymore. You can take off the disguise now. Snake, it appears you were knocked out by the End's tranquilizer rounds. I don't know, but I expect he's still in Sokrovieno. Until you defeat the End, you won't be able to reach the mountains. Snake, go back to Sokrovieno, and this time, finish him. What the hell happened? You mean he kicked the bucket in the middle of a battle? Well, Snake, the victory is yours. What do you mean? Snake, listen to yourself. This is a mission. It's not a game, it's not a sport. You think you're competing for the gold at Tokyo or something? Just focus on completing the mission. What exactly don't you like about James Bond? I mean, is it the fantastic gadgets? The cars? The guns? Snake, wouldn't you like to have a gun shaped like a pen? Then what about a snake-shaped gun? You could make it look like you're grappling with a giant snake and then get a shot in on the enemy while they're distracted. Ha! We'll make you a snake-shaped gun that folds up and fits into an attaché case. Oh, I get it. You're worried about how to handle the ladies, aren't you? I knew it. To tell you the truth, I don't like the idea of playing hanky-panky with enemy femme fatales either. But that's part of Bond's appeal. You could learn a thing or two from him. I mean, what about this Eva? What are you planning to do with her? No, that's not what I mean. You can't let yourself get involved. This is a game of spy versus spy. She's using you just as much as you're using her. You've got to grab the initiative, and to do that, you have to get the upper hand in the relationship. That's what a spy is supposed to do. Maybe if you change your codename to 00 Snake. 007 is the biggest thing to come out of England since the Mayflower. I wouldn't be surprised if they made 20 more of those movies. What? Yes, it looks like sending you in was worth it after all. Hurry up and finish your mission and then bring it back to us. Under no circumstances are you to eat it, is that clear? Sigint? They're not cookies, they're scones. And it's not a snack, it's afternoon tea. No, it's not. Look here, afternoon tea is a fine old English tradition. The origins of afternoon tea go back to the Victorian era. Anna Maria, the 7th Duchess of Bedford, was Snake, what in God's name? Oh, never mind. I suppose you might be able to disguise yourself as a crocodile by wearing that cap and sticking your head out of the water. Snake, what happened? Beg your pardon? It's 1964. You're in a cell in Groznygrad. What did they do, Snake? Make you drink an entire keg of vodka? You know, I hear they've got 98 proof vodka in the East. Back in England, we don't call stuff like that fine spirit. We call it sulfuric acid. Imagine, if you will, your internal organs being slowly eaten away as smoke pours out of your mouth. Really, Snake, you shouldn't be touching that. A dream? Well, how nice. And here I thought I sat up all night worrying about you for nothing. Snake, are you okay? You're not going loony on me, are you? Good show. I'm sure you'll find a way out of there. It appears you've been completely surrounded. If Eva is to escape from there, Snake, you must defeat all the ocelots. That's the only way to ensure Eva's safe escape, as well as your own. But you're up against a lot of them. Don't try to take them head on. Approach them without being seen and dispatch them one by one. And don't forget to use your camouflage. Snake, they're conducting a sweep of the inside of the factory. Sooner or later, they'll come to your room. If you're just standing there doing nothing, they'll find you and they will kill you. Get out of that room quickly. Use the trapdoor that Eva showed you. You might be able to wait it out by hiding in a locker as well. Snake, don't try to engage the ocelots head on. There are too many of them. If they surround you, you'll be finished. Use your camouflage to approach them without being seen and take them out one by one. If you don't camouflage yourself properly, you run the risk of being spotted and attacked by snipers or other faraway enemies. Don't forget to use the camouflage screen in the survival viewer to disguise yourself. Always maintain a high camo index. Snake, enemy soldiers who move in file pose a serious threat. Try to take them out one at a time, starting with the one at the back. Snake, there were drums filled with fuel in the factory. If you shoot a bullet into one of those drums, the resulting explosion should send any nearby enemies flying. Use them to your advantage. Snake, there's no telling where the enemy might be hiding. Be sure to check the ceilings and the bushes. Don't let your guard down even for an instant. Eva needs you to distract the enemies until she can escape on her motorcycle. She's probably out there somewhere waiting for her chance. Don't worry about her. Focus on defeating the enemy. Understood? Snake, it's too early to relax yet. There are still enemies out there somewhere. Find them and eliminate them. Snake, it appears they've got snipers in place. Snipers are excellent shots. If they hit you, you're likely to be wounded. Find the snipers and neutralize them before they can shoot you. If you do get shot at, take cover behind something. Understood? Snake, the only way to proceed is to fight. You have to defeat Ocelot. You can't jump over that crevice, and hand-to-hand combat is out of the question. You'll have to shoot it out with him. Take cover behind something and wait for an opening, then attack him in first-person view. I think what Ocelot really wants is a showdown with you. As long as you keep your gun holstered, he'll probably do the same. This will be a quick draw contest. You'd better have sharp reflexes. Watch Ocelot in first-person view. When you see an opening, quickly draw your gun and shoot him. Ocelot is using a revolver. Revolvers take a long time to reload when they run out of bullets. When he stops to reload, that's your chance to attack. Ocelot can use ricochet shots to attack? Then you won't be safe anywhere, not even behind an obstacle. Don't stay in one spot for too long or you'll make yourself an easy target. Stay alert. Snake, you won't survive a fall into that crevice. Make sure you don't fall into it while rolling by mistake. Even if Ocelot hides in a blind spot, you can still shoot him from up in the trees. If he hides from you, climb a tree and attack him from there. Snake, as long as the Pain is using his hornets to protect his body, you won't be able to damage him with gun attacks. You'll need to use a grenade to get rid of the hornet swarm first. Go into first-person view and throw a grenade at him. The shotgun should work as well. Get rid of those hornets protecting him and then attack him with a gun. Snake, if the Pain's hornets stick to you, you won't be able to move freely. If hornets start to stick to you, take care of them before they prevent you from moving altogether. Either jump into the water or wave your survival knife around to drive them away. If you become unable to move, wiggle the left analog stick and press the buttons rapidly to shake them off before you get shot. Understood? Snake, bullet bees are digging into your body. Snake, watch out for those bullet bees he shoots. Snake, not even the Pain's special hornets can pursue you into the water, and the grenades he throws will only be half as deadly underwater. If you sense danger, escape by diving into the water. To dive underwater, press the crawl button while you're swimming on the surface. To move forward underwater, press either the CQC button or the crawl button. Use the left analog stick to control your direction. In a pinch, you can press the action button to quickly rise to the surface. Also, handguns and rifles can be fired underwater. You can use these to attack targets above the surface as well. Snake, you've got alarm pheromones all over your clothes. The Pain can utilize the hornets under his control to seek out his enemies. Being spotted by the hornets is the same as being spotted by him. Keep an eye out for hornets above you when you emerge from underwater. The Pain seems to be directing swarms of hornets to attack you. The Fear is using something called stealth camouflage to conceal himself. But you should be able to spot him if you look closely in first-person view. Watch for rustling grass, falling leaves, anything that will betray his presence. Find him and shoot him in first-person view. You can knock down the Fear's bolts with your gun or knife. If you can't dodge a bolt, go into first-person view and shoot it down. Snake, are you all right? Snake, watch out for the Fear's poison bolts. The Fear's stealth camouflage apparently drains his stamina rather quickly. Once he's used up his stamina, he'll have no choice but to go looking for food. That's your chance. Throw one of your food items to set a trap for him. Plant a claymore or some TNT and lure him into it, or lure him into one of his own traps. Giving him poisoned or rotten food may also work well. Used properly, your food can be a weapon. Snake, be careful. Those woods are riddled with traps. Watch your step as you go along, and look out for areas of bottomless swamp. Even if you don't trigger a trap, the Fear can still use it to attack you by setting it off himself. Be careful about standing too close to traps. On the other hand, you might be able to use his own traps against him. For example, you could place some food next to a trap and lure him over to it. Use your head. Snake, you've been caught in a snare trap? You're going to get yourself shot if you stay up there. Use the action button to cut the rope and escape from the trap. Hurry before he finds you. Your fight with the End will likely be a long and grueling one. You should stock up on battle necessities like ammunition and provisions now, while you still can. Snake, that forest is immense. It's too dangerous to proceed without adequate information. Give Eva a call. Eva said there was a provisions storehouse in the east of that forest. Why don't you go and pay it a visit? Snake, the End is a veteran sniper. He's hiding somewhere in those woods waiting for you to appear. If he sees you, he'll shoot without hesitation. Make your way through the forest, hiding along the way, and watch out for signs of the End. Anticipate his movements and come up on his side or get behind him for a chance to attack. Be careful, the End uses a special kind of tranquilizer round. If you run out of stamina, it's all over. Make sure you keep your stamina up by hunting for food on a regular basis. This battle will be a long, grueling sniper duel. But don't let your guard down, not even for a single moment. The End is a renowned sniper, but he's also an expert in camouflage. He's lying low somewhere in those woods and waiting for his chance. You'll only get yourself shot if you run around like a fool. Use your camouflage to blend in, take cover behind rocks and trees, and find where he's hiding. Make use of your binoculars. Keep a close eye out for the flash from his scope. You can also try using the thermal goggles. The binoculars and first-person view will prove useful in detecting the enemy's presence. You should also be making use of your motion detector, active sonar, and anti-personnel sensor. You might also try using the directional microphone. The thermal goggles should also be effective. You've been shot by the End? Snake, the End is using a special type of tranquilizer round. If you reach the spot where you think the End is hiding and he's not there anymore, don't give up. Take a close look at the ground. He may have left footprints behind. You can use those to determine which way he went. Anticipate his movements and get behind him. The best locations for sniping are determined naturally by the terrain. The End may use the same location multiple times. Memorize the spots he chooses for sniping and sneak up behind him. You can tell which locations the End has used for sniping by looking at the map in the survival viewer. Anticipate where he'll be sniping from and approach him from the side or rear. Snake, that's the entrance to the shaft, but those vines appear to have sealed it off. You won't be able to enter the shaft until you defeat the End. Finish him off first. The ocelots are supposed to be lying in wait for you. They may even have snipers in position. Proceed with caution. Snake, be careful. Aren't the ocelots supposed to be setting an ambush for you in those woods? The ocelots are an elite unit handpicked from the ranks of Gru. You won't find them so easy to deal with. Use your camouflage to avoid being seen. Proceed with caution. Your primary objective is to climb the mountains and rendezvous with Eva. There's no need to face the ocelots in battle. The shaft leading to the mountains is located in the northeast part of the northern area of the woods. Keep an eye out for ambushes and head northeast. Snake, be on the lookout for ambushes by the ocelots. They may be hiding in the bushes and similar places. Make sure you're fully camouflaged and proceed with caution. The Fury is equipped with a powerful flamethrower. Whatever you do, don't attack him from the front. Get behind him and attack him from there. You'll never get anywhere fumbling around in the dark. You need to be able to see first. Use the night vision goggles. You could also try using a torch or a cigar. The Fury's flamethrower is immensely powerful. Do not, under any circumstances, try to approach him from the front. Watch out for the Fury's flying attacks. Even if he's far away from you, he can close in on you in an instant. But he should be vulnerable for an instant when he takes off, and when he lands. That's your chance. I heard. For now, you've got no choice but to do as Eva says and head north. Enemy search parties are already headed your way. Don't just stand there, run! Snake, the enemy has sent attack dogs after you. Without weapons, you won't be able to put up a fight. Don't even think about fighting, just run. Go north. That's the escape route Eva was talking about. Can you get it open? Then it's been sealed off after all. I see. Snake, forget about getting through the door. Do as Eva says and head north. Snake, Eva said the sewers have been sealed off. If you go up the ladder, I'm afraid all you'd find is the enemy waiting for you. Do as Eva says and run to the north. The enemy is bound to have sent a search party after you. Hurry! The enemy appears to have released attack dogs into the sewers. Without any decent weapons, it's too dangerous to take those dogs on. Stay away from the dogs and keep heading north. That's an order. Snake, respond! Snake! Snake! Snake, what happened? Snake! Snake! What's going on? Snake! Snake! Snake, are you all right? Snake! Snake! Snake, what's your status? Snake! Snake! Snake, wake up. Open your eyes. Snake, wake up. The revival pill. Use the revival pill on the game over screen. Snake, are you being pursued by the enemy? Even taking into account the time you were unconscious, it's still too early for them to have caught up to you. It's almost as if they know exactly where you are. In any case, you can't launch a counterattack until you meet Eva and get your gear back. Just shake them off and head behind the waterfall. Snake, watch out for Volgin's electric shock attacks. If you're shocked while equipping a gun, the bullets inside the magazine will ignite and the gun will explode. But he should be vulnerable just after launching a series of shock attacks. Avoid the attacks and either shoot him from his blind side or engage him directly with punches or CQC. And don't forget that the timer is still ticking on the C3 detonators. When it reaches 0, it's all over. You've got to finish him off before then. Snake, don't forget that the timer is still ticking on the C3 detonators. You must defeat Volgin and escape from the hangar before that count reaches 0. Get to it. Snake, don't concern yourself with Ocelot up there. Concentrate on defeating Volgin. I heard. But I don't think they've found all of them yet, and even if they have found them, they may not be able to disarm them. Don't worry about the C3. Concentrate on defeating Volgin. Snake, look at the countdown timer. The bombs are about to explode. Hurry and finish him off. Snake, are you all right? The explosion went off successfully. Snake, if you can take out the Shagohod that Volgin's in, the world will be safe from that monstrosity of a weapon. But you won't be able to take it down with the weapons you have on you. You have to come up with something else. It's time to rethink your plan of attack. First, get out of there. You need to shake your pursuers. Snake, leave the driving to Eva. You concentrate on fending off your pursuers and clearing the way for her. Don't worry about running out of ammunition. The sidecar seems to be loaded with plenty of it. Use first-person view to eliminate your attackers. Snake, your ultimate objective is to escape. There's no need to defeat every last enemy. Rather than attacking the enemies you've put behind you, focus on dispatching the ones that are blocking the way in front of you. The enemy will be coming at you from all sides, front and back, left and right. Use first-person view to take them out. Listen closely to what Eva tells you. Watch out for those guard towers. You don't want them sniping at you from above. If you see an enemy in one of the guard towers, take him out first. Snake, you must destroy all the objects that block the sidecar's path. Do as Eva tells you. Snake, keep an eye on Eva's life as well. If she's killed, you're finished. Make sure you don't shoot Eva by mistake. Snake, if you can take out the Shagohod that Volgin is in at the bridge, the world will be safe from that monstrosity of a weapon. Now hurry up and get to the bridge. Snake, why are you attacking Eva? Pull yourself together and focus on the enemy. That's an order. You can blow up the drums placed throughout the fortress by shooting them. That should trip the enemy up a bit. Aim for the drums. Yes, I know. Pummel the Shagohod with the RPG-7. Even if you can't destroy it, you should at least be able to slow it down. Whatever you do, don't let it catch up to you. It looks like the Shagohod's fallen quite far behind. You're in the barracks area now. In just a few moments, you'll come upon Grozhnygrad's northern runway. Keep going, you're almost there. So I heard. You're going to take out the bridge and the Shagohod with it, eh? Nice plan. Let Eva do the driving. Concentrate on fending off your pursuers. You've got to make it to that bridge somehow. Good. You've reached the runway. The rail bridge is just up ahead. You've got to hold on until you reach the bridge. Snake, the Shagohod is coming up behind you. It'll overtake you unless you do something. Attack it with the RPG-7. You might not be able to destroy it, but you can certainly slow it down. Snake, when the Shagohod approaches the bridge, that's your cue to start sniping the C3 bombs planted on the struts. Use the SVD. The C3 bombs are planted on the support beams of the front center side of the bridge. There appears to be a total of 2 bombs. Eva appears to have planted 3 bombs. Eva has planted a total of 4 bombs. 3 more to go. 2 more to go. 1 more left. Concentrate on your target. You must destroy the bridge before the Shagohod makes it across. You'll be crushed if the Shagohod makes it across the bridge. On the other hand, if you blow it up too early, the plan will be a failure. Wait until the Shagohod is on top of the rail bridge to shoot the C3 bombs and destroy it. Hurry, Snake! The Shagohod is about to reach the other side. Shoot the C3 bombs quickly! Snake, the rear frame of the Shagohod was destroyed when the bridge collapsed. The backside of the front frame is now exposed. Even the Shagohod is bound to have less armor plating on its backside. I'm sure you can penetrate it with the RPG-7. Attack the Shagohod from behind with the RPG-7. The area around the Shagohod's underbody seems to have sustained heavy damage as well. By hitting its base with the RPG-7 or a grenade, you can force it to change direction. That will surely make it easier to get behind it. Aim for the base. Snake, it looks like Volgin is using his own electricity to power the Shagohod now. Attacking the Shagohod itself at this point will have little effect. You need to aim for Volgin himself. If you attack Volgin from the front, he'll simply deflect the bullet with his electromagnetic field. Target him from the back and sides. You should be able to slow the Shagohod's movement by attacking its base. Aim for the base and immobilize it. There's a gun emplacement and an anti-aircraft cannon over there. They should deal a fair bit of damage to him as well, but stay there too long and you make yourself an easy target. If the Shagohod draws too close, get away from the emplacement immediately. Snake, pay attention to Eva's life as well. If she dies, you won't be able to complete your mission. Don't let Eva get caught in the crossfire by mistake, or there'll be hell to pay. Snake, you've got to make it to the lake. Leave the driving to Eva like before, and stay vigilant. The enemy is still in pursuit. Snake, you've got to make it to the lake somehow. She's waiting for you. Snake, you must shoot the fallen logs and branches that block your path. Follow Eva's instructions. Watch out for the flying platforms too. You can't afford to have them shooting at you from the air. Don't let them get too close, or else. Snake, the engine seems to have caught on fire. Hang in there. Snake, stay on your toes. The enemy hasn't given up coming after you yet. They should be there any minute now. If you go southeast from there, you'll come to a road leading to the lake. Take Eva with you and head southeast. Snake, what do you think you're doing? The enemy search party will be there any minute. Head to the southeast quickly. Snake, where's Eva? You're too far away from her. Go back and get her immediately. She should be to your east. She should be to your west. She should be to your south. She should be to your north. Snake, if the enemy catches up to you, stop where you are and fight them off. However, there's no need to defeat them all. As soon as you've beaten them back, continue on toward the lake. If you find a hollow tree or clump of bushes, you can hide there until the enemy passes you by. The enemy may try to get ahead and ambush you. Keep a constant watch on your surroundings. Use your sensors to stay aware of their locale. That looks like a hollow tree. If you hide in there, the enemy might just pass you by without noticing. When Eva is hiding in the hollow tree, you can get her to come out by pressing yourself against the tree and pushing the CQC button to knock. Snake, look at that wall. It's got a hole in it. If you climb in, you may be able to escape the enemy's search. If you get cornered, try hiding in there. Snake, the lake is just over that cliff. Eva should be able to climb it if you help her. Keep her close to you. Snake, you're never going to make it up that cliff with the enemy attacking you. Take care of the enemy first, then climb. Snake, the lake is in the northeast of that area. You're almost there. Head to the northeast and don't forget Eva. Snake, you can't return to the west from there. Head to the northeast. Snake, what are you doing? Eva is in danger. Hurry and save her. Snake, what the hell are you doing to Eva? Of all the... Well, I can see now I chose the wrong man for this mission. Snake, the boss is waiting for you at the lake. That's all I can tell you. Finish the mission, Snake. Snake, it's time to complete your final mission. This is where you fulfill your loyalty to your country, and perhaps to her as well. You must defeat the boss. The firepower of that Patriot pistol the boss is using is beyond compare. In a straight shootout, you'd lose every time. Your first concern should be to hide yourself while using camouflage. Maneuver towards the boss's blind side, wait for an opening, and attack her with a gun or CQC. Watch out for the boss's Patriot pistol. Any attack you make is going to be futile in the face of such overwhelming firepower. Attack her from the back or side. Use your camouflage to sneak into her blind spot. You can also crawl through the flowers in intrusion view. Use this technique to maneuver discreetly into the boss's blind spot. In first-person view, you can press the left and right step buttons simultaneously to prop yourself up. That way, you can keep track of the boss's position as you move. The motion detector and active sonar will also prove useful. Sneak behind the boss so that she remains unaware of your position. In a proximity encounter, the boss will obviously try to use CQC on you. By pressing the CQC button at the very moment the boss launches a CQC strike, you can parry the attack. If you're successful, you can maneuver around to her side. That's your chance to use CQC on her. But if you fail, not only will she throw you, but she'll disassemble your weapon as well. Watch the boss's movements carefully. Timing is everything. The boss has ordered MiGs to launch an airstrike. If you don't finish the battle within 10 minutes, you'll both be blown to bits. You must defeat the boss before the MiGs get there. Hurry, Snake. You're running out of time. I won't allow you to die with her. Finish her off now, Snake. Snake, pick up one of the item boxes on the floor. One of them contains a loaded revolver. My bet's on you, Snake. Pick up the gun. Snake, first you need to find that backpack you lost on the way down. Your backpack got caught on a tree to the north. Try heading in that direction. Snake, where do you think you're going? You can't expect to proceed with the mission without any weapons or equipment. First, you'll need to recover your backpack. It's caught on a tree to the south. Press the action button to climb the tree and retrieve your backpack. Is that clear? Snake, you said your backpack got caught on a tree branch, right? Was there ivy growing on the tree? Perfect. Indeed. You can climb any ivy-covered tree by standing in front of the ivy and pressing the action button. Climb the tree and retrieve your backpack. Snake, your backpack is stuck on a tree branch, right? Climb the tree and get it back. Snake, did you climb that tree? Good. So the backpack? Not yet? Don't tell me you went up the tree just to take in the view. Well, I must admit that's not a bad idea. Climbing a tree does give you a wider range of view. You can use it for scouting. But what you need to do now is retrieve your backpack. Understood? The backpack is on the branch pointing east on that tree, right? Walk along the branch and get it. Be careful not to fall. You should be able to grab your backpack if you hang from the branch by pressing the action button. Sokolov should be at the abandoned factory to the north, so head in that direction. Snake, intelligence indicates that that area is outside the enemy's cordon, so you shouldn't have any unexpected encounters with enemy patrols. I think it will be a good idea to take this time to get accustomed to using your camouflage, hunting for food, and navigating the survival viewer. If you have any questions about camouflage or CQC, ask the boss. The boss's frequency is 141.80. Paramedic is the medical correspondent for this mission. Ask her about hunting for food and medical treatment. Also, she has documents detailing flora and fauna in the operation locale. Contact her if you need detailed information on any of the plants and animals in your area. Paramedic's frequency is 145.73. Snake, once you head further north, you'll be entering enemy territory. You'd best get used to using camouflage and hunting for food while you have the convenience. Snake, I'm sure you realize that a fall into that canyon would be instant death. Of course, the same goes for enemies. You've killed all the enemies. Now you can cross the suspension bridge without worrying about being spotted. Sokolov is in the abandoned factory to the north. Find him right away. Snake, Sokolov is imprisoned in the northeast area of the factory. Yes, and don't engage the enemy. The object of this mission is to bring Sokolov back safely and nothing more. Contact Sokolov without being spotted by the enemy and bring him out discreetly. If you must dispose of an enemy, do it with the tranquilizer gun. Snake, as I said before, this mission is only to bring Sokolov back safely. You must not put Sokolov in danger. You're not allowed to contact him during the alert phase. Period. Snake, where are you going? You've got quite the frontier spirit, huh? You don't need to go that way. Sokolov is in the northeast area of the factory. Hurry back and make contact with Sokolov. Hold on, Snake. What's the current condition? Yeah, what phase is it now? Exactly. I already said you can't contact Sokolov during battle. Don't you listen to people when they're talking? Well, anyway, the reason that door won't open is probably because Sokolov is blocking it himself. He's scared, and no wonder. In order to break Sokolov out of there, you'll need his cooperation as well, so stop scaring him. Contact Sokolov later after you've disengaged the enemy. Once things have stabilized, try it again. Got it? Snake, be careful of that swamp. It's a bottomless swamp. Yes, the mud in that swamp is highly viscous. It will stick to your body like tar. It will be impossible for you to swim. If you get swallowed by the bottomless swamp, you won't be able to escape on your own. Once you sink down to about head level, you'll be trapped for good. Make sure you get out before that happens. Snake, wait. Yes. Crocodiles. Yes, that's correct. More accurately, they're Indian gavials. You'll have to ask Paramedic about that one. Paramedic? Snake, crocodiles inhabit that area. One bite could take you right out of action. Avoid approaching them head on. Snake, are there oil drums there? You might be able to use them to distract enemies. Try pressing the action button near the oil drum. Try applying some force to the oil drum. You may be able to roll it. Snake, see that fallen tree? Check it out. Just do it. You can hide by lying down and crawling inside of hollow fallen trees. If you want to leave, just crawl out. If you lie down and crawl, you can wedge yourself into the crevice. To lie down and crawl from a standing position, press and hold the crawl button. When you want to stand back up, press and hold the crawl button again. Got it? But what? What do you mean? That's right. Pretty useful, huh? Shall we carry on? When you're out in nature, you'll find lots of places that you can crawl inside. You can use those places to hide from enemies. You'd be a fool not to take advantage of those hiding places, so always look around with first-person view and survey your surroundings. When you're inside a fallen tree, the view automatically switches to the intrusion view. Control is the same as normal intrusion. It's perfect for hiding from enemies, but if your enemies notice you going inside, you'll become target practice. So, be careful. Snake, do you see any tufts of grass? What kind of grass? You should check it anyhow. If you crawl into the grass, you can advance under cover. When you do, the camera automatically switches to intrusion view. If you want to stand up again, press and hold the crawl button once more. If you press the crawl button briefly, you'll crouch in that spot. This allows you to observe things without blowing your cover. Also, when you're hidden in grass, your camouflage effect goes up. As long as you stay in the grass, you'll remain hidden even from nearby enemies. Even when hidden in grass, if you make a noise, your enemies will locate you. When enemies are nearby, move with slight movements of the left analog stick. That way you can proceed with minimal disturbance. You can get inside trees that are hollowed out from decay. Entering a hollow is an effective method for gaining temporary cover from enemies. However, if you're caught entering the tree, you'll take concentrated fire. If they throw a grenade in on you, you'll be torn to shreds. Be careful. Snake, if you fall from that cliff, you're dead meat. Climb up before you lose your grip strength. Whatever happens, don't let go. Snake, do you read? Snake! Snake, are you all right? Snake, this is a solo sneaking mission. Do you know what that means? No, you don't. It means there's no backup, no cavalry. If you're taken out, nobody is there to take your place. Pull out for now and recuperate. Snake, did you find food? Besides eating food, you can throw it at enemies to confuse them. So remember, food is not just for eating. Be creative. When you're in the jungle, determining the position of your enemies is important. That's why you've been supplied with sensors. Use them well. The motion detector senses activity in your immediate vicinity. However, in the jungle, a lot of things other than your enemies are moving. Animals moving around will show up on the sensor just like anything else. Also, the motion detector is only so sensitive. Don't forget that certain enemies and animals that make only slight movements will not be detected. Press the left analog stick to initiate the active sonar and emit a special sonic wave. The reflected sound from the sonic wave reveals the positions of targeted objects. In contrast to the motion detector, the active sonar reveals still objects as well. However, there's a risk that the sound of the sonic wave will reveal your position to enemies and animals, so be careful when using the active sonar. The anti-personnel sensor vibrates when it detects human life forms. Unlike other sensors, the anti-personnel sensor has been adjusted to react to humans only, eliminating noise from animal detection. It can detect hidden, unmoving enemies, and the use of it doesn't betray your own position. But on the other hand, its accuracy lacks a bit as it has trouble revealing the exact position of detected bodies. Keep that in mind. When you use it during first-person view, it'll work only in the direction you're facing. Your sensors and other electronic devices cannot be used indefinitely. Once they're activated, they consume battery power. Remember, all items draw power from a single battery. Once your battery runs out, all electronic gear becomes inoperable. You can check your remaining battery power with the icon of any item that uses electricity. Take care not to waste power. You can climb up onto waist-high objects by pressing the action button. Climbing can get you to locations that can't be accessed by walking, and it may help you reach items that can't be found normally. Don't forget to try climbing things. Snake, be careful. The way to change between standing, crouching and crawling has changed slightly from the methods learned in training. When standing, press the crawl button briefly to crouch and press and hold to take a crawling position. Since by crouching you take a lower position, it has a higher camo index than standing. And the added stability of crouching lessens the effect of gun recoil. If you try shooting while crouching, you'll notice your shots will bunch together more consistently than when standing. Press the crawl button while crouching to stand up, and move the left analog stick to crawl in a direction. When crawling, your camo index becomes extremely high, and your firing of guns becomes even more stable than while crouching. You can move the left analog stick while on your stomach to crawl in a particular direction. When you're crawling, use small movements of the left analog stick to crawl silently at the expense of speed. However, be warned that crawling consumes more stamina than simply walking. Press and hold the crawl button while in crawl position to stand up. Press the crawl button briefly to switch to crouch position. Don't forget, if you want to stand up quickly from a crawling position, press and hold the crawl button. Snake, I recommend against leaving the bodies of your victims lying around. If the enemy spots a fallen comrade, they'll realize that they've been infiltrated and strengthen their guard. When you kill an enemy, hide the body in the grass or at some other location where it won't be spotted. Stand near a fallen enemy and press the weapon button with no weapon equipped to grab the body. Hold the weapon button and move to drag the body. Release the weapon button to put the body down. Snake, I don't recommend running around wildly. You need to determine when it's best to run and when it's best just to walk. Move the left analog stick slightly to walk. You won't move very fast, but it consumes little stamina, and enemies are less likely to detect you. When you're near enemies or when you need to conserve stamina, those are good times to walk. Snake, press the left analog stick down on the radio screen to open the memory window. In the memory window, select a person to contact and press the Enter button. This saves you the time of adjusting the frequency. The battlefield airwaves are littered with various transmissions. You can find a real catch if you fiddle around enough. Press the CQC button when you're up against a wall to knock on the wall and make a sound. Creating sounds can attract the attention of enemies. There are many ways to use sound to your advantage. Use it to lure an enemy in the wrong direction. Then use that opportunity to slip by. Or lure an enemy near you, then ambush the enemy from behind. Use it to your utmost advantage. Snake, if you find an item box, use first-person view to take a good look and find out what's inside. Sometimes it's dangerous to blindly go after an item. That's why you should check first to make sure the item in the item box is worth the trouble. If you can't get a good look, you can use your binoculars. Snake, the damage that an enemy takes from your gun depends on where you hit him. If you hit an arm or leg, one shot won't be enough to finish him. If you want to take an enemy out in one shot, you'll have to use a first-person view attack and get a solid shot to the head. Snake, when you stand up against a tree or put your back against the wall near a corner, the camera lowers and gives you a view of behind. This is the corner view. This allows you to keep track of what's occurring behind you when hiding in protected areas. Also, there are a variety of actions possible while hiding, including using the left and right step buttons to peek, and the weapon button to take jump-out shots. Learning how to take advantage of the corner view is the first step towards mission success. Use it to your utmost advantage. In the corner view, press the left step button or the right step button to stick yourself out from a protected area and look over your shoulder. We'll call this action peeking. Peeking is effective for observation since it gives you a wider range of vision than the normal corner view. However, since it involves revealing part of your body, you put yourself at risk of being spotted by the enemy. Move the right analog stick with the corner view on to shift the camera in that direction. This won't give you the same wide angle as peeking with the left and right step buttons, but it is safer since it will keep you from exposing your body too much. You'll do well to get accustomed to it. If you have a gun equipped during the corner view, press the weapon button to jump out and take a jump-out shot. With the jump-out shot technique, you can stay protected from enemy fire behind an obstruction and launch a burst attack when the time is right. This is a crucial technique for firefights. Use it well. When you press the weapon button with the handgun, you aim, and when you release it, you fire. If, after aiming, you wish to withdraw your aim without firing, release the weapon button slowly. You'll just have to practice until you get the hang of it. I've heard of a lot of cases where fresh recruits accidentally fired on enemies during a hold-up. If you train yourself now, you won't be liable to misfire when the pressure's on. If you're unsure of yourself, you should practice. The assault rifle works a little differently from the handgun. Press the weapon button lightly to aim and press the weapon button fully to fire. If you want to lower the weapon without firing, such as during a hold-up, just release the weapon button without fully pressing it. Be careful not to fire the weapon the moment you aim. The distance that you throw grenades and other throwable weapons is determined by how hard you press the weapon button. A light press of the weapon button will toss the weapon nearby, while a hard press of the button will hurl it farther. Adjust the strength of the button press as appropriate. You can also throw in first-person view. With this view, you can throw more accurately at specific targets. Use it as necessary. Thermal goggles create a thermal image based on the heat emitted by objects in view. With the thermal goggles equipped, you'll be able to quickly spot enemies hidden deep within the jungle. Also, you can locate plants, animals and traps. Use it to your advantage. However, once you activate the thermal goggles, you begin draining battery energy. And remember, once you're out of battery juice, you won't be able to use your other electronic devices. Press the action button when you're on top of a branch or in front of a railing to hang down from that spot. This action is called hanging. Sometimes it's advantageous to move while hanging rather than walking on the surface. Also, by hanging, you can hide by staying out of the sight of your enemies. While hanging, use the left analog stick, left step button and right step button to move left and right. When you want to climb back up from your hanging position, press the action button once more. If you want to drop down, press the crawl button. You can't keep hanging forever. Once you run out of grip strength, you'll fall. Check your grip strength with the grip gauge. When you hang, a blue gauge appears above the stamina gauge. This is the grip gauge. It indicates the status of your grip. When hanging, the grip gauge drops. When the grip gauge expires, you will fall, so you must climb back up before that happens. The length of the grip gauge depends upon your stamina. If you need to hang for a long period, you'll have to revive your stamina first. If there's something to grab onto during a fall, press the action button when you pass in front of it. If you get the timing right, you'll be able to grab and hang onto that area. With this technique, you can reach locations that are inaccessible by other means. You may even find some rare items this way. Observe your geographic surroundings and try to find spots that you could grab during a fall. Press the crawl button while hanging to drop straight down. You can knock an enemy instantly unconscious with this technique if you land on top of him. When you're in a tree, try aiming for an enemy passing beneath. If you approach an enemy undetected, you can render him defenseless by jutting a gun into his body from behind. This is called a hold-up. However, even after rendering an enemy defenseless, if he notices you put your weapon away or start to walk away, he will attack. So, be careful. When you hold an enemy up, sometimes he will give you an item. Conducting a hold-up presents risks, but it is a useful technique when you're running low on ammunition or medical items. After you've received an item from a hold-up, you might try holding the enemy up again. He might give up a more precious, hidden item. With an equipped weapon in overhead view, press and hold the aim button to lock your line of fire while moving in any given direction. Use this for charges or retreats, or any other time that you want to concentrate fire in one direction while moving. In first-person view, use the right step button to take one step right and the left step button to take a step left. Use it to attack while hiding behind barriers and to step out of hidden spots to scout. During first-person view, press the left and right step buttons at the same time to stretch up slightly from that position. It's useful when you're hiding behind barriers and scouting or in a shootout. When you creep inside a small space, the overhead view switches to the intrusion view. Movement during the intrusion view is a bit different from movement during the overhead view. Use up on the left analog stick to advance, down to go backwards, and left and right to rotate. Use directional button left and right to shift left and right. With large movements of the left analog stick, you move faster but create sound. Nearby enemies might notice you. With slight movements of the left analog stick, you can move without making a sound, but at the expense of speed. Use both types of movement in appropriate situations. Snake, if you slip off there, you won't be able to climb back up. If you want to go up, find a different route. After you've grabbed an enemy from behind with CQC, you can interrogate him by pressing the left analog stick. This is an opportunity to gain intelligence. Some of your enemies have valuable information, so give the technique a try and see what you can learn. The degree to which you move the left analog stick not only changes your walking speed, but changes your speed when crawling and for intrusion movement. With large movements of the left analog stick, you can move faster, but you'll make noise and give yourself away to nearby enemies. With slight movements of the left analog stick, you can move in silence. It sacrifices speed, but it's the best choice for the times when creating noise presents significant risk. Snake, the Mark 22 is a tranquilizer gun. Use it to put enemies to sleep without harming them. The speed with which the tranquilizer takes effect depends on the point of impact on the enemy. If a target is hit on the arm or leg, the tranquilizer won't take effect immediately, but a target hit on the head will drop like a fly. If you want to take an enemy out in a flash, aim for the head. Equip food as a weapon and press the weapon button to throw the food. If you throw a live animal near an enemy, you may be able to distract him. If an enemy is really hungry, he may pounce at the prospect of food. You have minimal gear on this mission, and you have to make the most use out of anything you can procure on the ground. Move the right analog stick in a direction during the overhead view to look in that direction. Move the right analog stick left to see what's nearby on screen left. Move right for screen right, up to see what's further ahead, and down to see what's nearby. If you press the right analog stick while it's pointed in a direction, you can lock the camera on that position. For example, if you're heading north, move the right analog stick up and press it to lock the camera, allowing you to observe things in the direction of movement. Then, if you later spot an enemy patrol to the east, lock the camera to the right so you can hide while observing the threat. Use of this technique can be greatly advantageous to your mission. Make sure to get the most out of it. Press the crawl button during a run to commence a roll. For a brief interval, you'll perform a jump which can be used to knock down enemies. In contrast to the training you've done so far, you can use rolling to jump waist-high objects. However, remember that rolling consumes more stamina than standard running. Snake, in order to maintain your stamina, you'll have to feed yourself. The idea behind this mission is procure on site. This goes for food as well. That's right. Americans have a terrible habit of taking everything with them. Nowadays, nobody can get anything done without a lot of fancy equipment. It wasn't like that in SAS, I'll tell you that. And with Fox, we're running things my way. You're not convinced, are you? Well, think of it this way. The stuff you'll find out there tastes a lot better than army rations anyway. You'll be procuring food by capturing local plants and animals. Paramedic has information on the flora and fauna available in the mission area. Ask her if you have any questions about the plants and animals you find. Snake, when your stamina gets low, it negatively affects your physical abilities. You've got to replenish your stamina before it runs out. Your actions can lower your stamina. The more demanding the activity, the more stamina consumed. Snake, use the survival viewer to pick your camouflage, treat wounds, and eat food. Ask the boss or paramedic about the details. Snake, remember that the suppressor is a limited commodity. Exactly. When the suppressor's durability wears away, it breaks beyond repair. See the weapon icon to check the suppressor's present level of durability. Remove the suppressor from your gun if you want to make it last. Select the weapon that the suppressor is on with the weapon window button and press the Enter button to attach or detach the suppressor. Regulate usage of the suppressor based on the situation. Snake, certain enemy soldiers are equipped with radios. These signalers can use their radios to transmit information to and from the command headquarters. If a signaler realizes your presence, you can bet he'll be on the horn calling backup from headquarters. After headquarters receives the call for backup, they contact a nearby unit and order them to head over to give support. Once backup arrives, your enemies will outnumber you beyond hope for victory. It'll be too much for even you to handle. If you notice a signaler making a call for backup with his radio, take him out before he has the chance. If the call gets through, retreat before the backup unit arrives. If you hang around too long, you'll find yourself immensely outmatched. Got it? It's possible to destroy the radio that enemy correspondents use. If you must get involved in a fight, destroying the radio first will allow you to concentrate on the battle without worrying about reinforcements. Snake, this operation is a sneaking mission. You'll be doing your job right under the enemy's nose. In the event that you're spotted by an enemy, disable him before he can alert nearby soldiers. If you can take him out before he alerts other enemies of your presence, then the alert phase will quickly be restored to normal phase. But don't forget, even this should only happen in emergencies. Your top priority is to avoid being spotted by the enemy in the first place. Be effective. Snake, did you notice that when you knock an enemy unconscious, stars appear over his head? If you take a close look at the stars above the enemy's head, you'll notice that they gradually disappear, one at a time. Once the stars are all gone, the enemy becomes conscious again and returns to battle. So, when you knock out an enemy, be sure to plan for his recovery. Snake, that region is inside the enemy's area of control. The enemy is running regular patrols. You don't know when or where you might run into them. Use camouflage prudently and proceed with caution. Snake, camouflage uniforms alone are not enough. You'll need to put on face paint as well. Snake, camouflage and face paint alone won't make you blend in completely. In addition to the camouflage itself, your physical position is a crucial dynamic you should keep in mind. A suspension bridge, is it? If you cross that, you'll be revealed to enemies in every direction. To cross the bridge, you'll have to do something about the enemies in the area first. You could put them to sleep with a long-range tranquilizer shot, or you could get in close, lure them to you, and take them out. You can use an equipped weapon during first-person view. This is called a first-person view attack. When using first-person view attack, you can direct your line of fire up, down, left, or right. Each time you use up the ammunition in a magazine, you'll need to load the next one. You'll be vulnerable while changing magazines, so always be aware of your remaining bullets. Remaining bullets are displayed in an icon. You may want to carry out a tactical reload before the magazine is fully used. Press the action button from on top a branch to hang down from the tree, but you can only remain hanging as long as your grip strength lasts. Keep an eye on your grip gauge when dangling from a tree. Be careful. With low stamina, your grip won't last long. Snake, what do you do when you get a new weapon or item? But you know that you can't equip items that are still in your backpack, right? Correct. If you want to equip an item, first you have to remove it from your backpack. Snake, aiming your gun during first-person view is a bit different from what you're used to in training. Snake, the Soviet troops are not your only enemies. Paramedic has information on the flora and fauna in each area. Ask her for the details. In most areas outdoors, your footsteps will create some noise, even if you walk slowly by using small movements of the left analog stick. This could alert nearby enemies to your presence. If you need to sneak up behind an enemy, use a directional button to utilize stalking. Snake, remember that this operation is a solo sneaking mission. We'll be providing you with support over the radio, but out in the field you're on your own. There's no backup. And there's no way you'll survive a battle with a large enemy contingent. Avoid engagement whenever possible. Your highest priority in this mission is staying out of sight. Snake, let me explain the enemy's various states of alert. First of all, there's the state in which the enemy in that area doesn't know that you're there. This is called normal phase. In normal phase, the enemy will follow normal procedures for patrols and other activities. They won't present much of a danger to you. But if they spot an intruder, that means you, they'll attack in an attempt to neutralize you. This is called alert phase. Alert phase will last until the enemy loses sight of you. Even after they lose sight of you, the enemy will continue to search the area for a while. This is called evasion phase. Evasion phase will last until the enemy exhausts their search effort. Once evasion phase is over, the enemy should return to base. After the search is aborted, the enemy will enter caution phase. In caution phase, enemy soldiers will be more cautious in their patrols, and they'll likely be more difficult to detect. In addition to the regular patrols, there's also a chance that they'll send out additional search units. Keep on your toes. What's wrong? You were expecting something different? Now, go and find Sokolov and get him out of there. By equipping grenades and pressing the weapon button in corner view mode, you can throw a grenade while hiding behind a barrier. This technique should come in handy during a firefight. Use it well. Snake, are you all right? You seem awfully tired. Eating is a necessary part of your mission. When your stamina gets low, make sure you eat something. Got it? Snake, there are other ways to recover your stamina besides eating. Snake, if you step in any water or mud, your feet will get wet. If you walk like that, you'll leave footprints behind and the enemy may follow them straight to you. Try to avoid walking through any water or mud as much as possible. However, if your feet do get wet, just crawl to avoid leaving any footprints behind. When you don't want anybody following your trail, make sure to crawl. When you hide in the bushes, your camo index will go up. As long as you stay still, you should be able to avoid being seen by the enemy, even at fairly close range. Use the bushes to your advantage and stay hidden. Snake, making it harder for the enemy to spot you isn't the only advantage to maintaining a high camo index. The harder you are to distinguish from your surroundings, the harder you are to hit. In other words, the enemy's shots will miss more often. Do everything you can to keep your camo index high at all times. Snake, when you knock down a hornet's nest, a large swarm of hornets will come flying out. If used wisely, this can sow panic among the enemy, but if you're not careful, the hornets may end up attacking you. Snake, those drums are filled with fuel. That'll prove to be useful. Think about it. Shoot a bullet at a drum full of flammable fuel and, if you blow up those drums full of fuel, the explosion should take care of any enemies in a fairly wide radius. Just make sure you don't get caught up in the blast yourself. Snake, those drums don't appear to contain fuel. I don't think they'll explode if they're shot. Drums lying on their side can be sent rolling. Time it right and you might be able to use it to bowl over multiple enemies at once. Give it a try. Stand near a drum and press the action button. Snake, if you fall down from there, not even you will escape unharmed. You don't want to have to deal with an injury, so keep an eye on your grip gauge. Make sure you don't slip up and accidentally press the crawl button and let yourself go. Snake, when you meet Sokolov, don't go in wearing that mask. He won't like it. No. Just trust me, he won't. You'll need Sokolov's full cooperation to complete this mission successfully. Don't do anything to make him lose confidence in you. When you go in to meet Sokolov, make sure you remove your disguise. Got it? Snake, hurry and get those injuries treated. Snake, you're not done treating your injuries. Go into the survival viewer and treat the rest of your injuries. Snake, your first task is to meet up with Adam, the contact provided by the KGB. The rendezvous point is the abandoned factory to the north of your current position. Head north. Correct, but we can't afford to have the same thing happen this time. Like the Virtuous mission, Operation Snake Eater is a solo sneaking mission. There are no units in the field to back you up. Avoid engaging the enemy whenever possible. Your first priority is to remain unseen. Use the camouflage option in the survival viewer and choose your camouflage wisely. Proceed with caution. Unlike the Virtuous mission, this is a night operation. You'll get lost more easily in the dark, but it'll also make your camouflage more effective and make it harder for the enemy to see you. On the other hand, it will also be more difficult for you to see them. You'll also find that different animals are active. Some of these nocturnal animals are poisonous, so stay alert. Paramedic is with us again to provide information on the local plants and animals. Give her a call if there's anything you need to know. Operation Snake Eater is different from the Virtuous mission in that you won't be able to complete it in just a few hours. The time limit set by Khrushchev is 1 week. Within that time, you'll have to rescue Sokolov, defeat Volgin, destroy the Shagohod, and... Good. In any event, you'll not be allowed to return until you've accomplished your objectives. Survival in the field will be critical in this mission, and the most important survival technique of all is, of course, finding food. You can get food in the same way you did during the Virtuous mission, by capturing it. The enemy presence in that area is still light. You should try and get as much food as possible while you can. Snake, this is a solo sneaking operation. There are no medics there to assist you. You'll have to treat your own injuries, are we clear? Snake, the food you catch will gradually spoil over time. You just heard a horse? You sure it wasn't something else? Paramedic, are there any wild horses in Selino-Yarsk? No. There's only one way through that area. All you can do is move forward. Head towards the sound of that horse. It came from the north. Be careful. Snake, the boss is your enemy. You've got to accept that reality. Adam is waiting for you at the abandoned factory to the north of your current position. Head north. Remember that you've lost your gun. You don't stand a chance in a fight against an enemy unit. Use your camouflage and don't let the enemy see you. The enemy must have seen the drone explode. They've probably already sent out patrol units. You never know when you'll encounter the enemy. Use your camouflage wisely and proceed with caution. Hurry to your rendezvous with Adam. Head for the abandoned factory to the north. Watch out for enemy patrols. Stay alert at all times, okay? Snake, you don't have a tranquilizer gun right now. That means you'll just have to capture animals with your bare hands or with your survival knife. You should be able to harvest mushrooms and other low-lying plants with no problem by punching them or using your knife. It'll be tougher to catch small animals, but you might have a chance if you use stalking from behind. A rope bridge, huh? You'll stick out like a sore thumb if you walk on top of it. To cross it without being seen, you'll have to do something about the enemies. Did I? In the Virtuous mission, you had your tranquilizer gun to use. But this time around, you're unarmed. You won't be able to take out the enemies safely from a distance. You'll have to find some way of reeling them in close. Try distracting the enemy by making a noise or throwing something. You might also try cutting one of the ropes with your survival knife to make the bridge shake. You've arrived at the factory, I see. Good. Go to it. We weren't given an exact location. Nothing was specified. I'm not sure. You won't need to. He'll find you. Why don't you try the room to the northeast where you met Sokolov? Adam might be in there. Why don't you give the room to the northeast where you met Sokolov another try? Adam might be there this time. Snake, do you see the door there? Opening a swinging door is a bit different from opening the doors that you got used to during training. To open doors, generally you can just move the left analog stick and move towards the door. This way, you use your body to push the door open. To open a door without creating any noise, move the left analog stick slightly. So, when you're concerned about alerting enemies on the inside of a room of your presence, open the door slowly and slip right in. If you use large motions of the left analog stick and run towards a door, you'll burst through it. The sound of the door opening will surely be heard by your enemies, but it allows for a fast entrance. When you want to jump right in and take care of business, running is the way to do it. Stand in front of a door in first-person view and use the left and right step buttons against the door. This will gradually open the door and allow you to glimpse inside. Use this technique when you want to check what's happening on the other side. Adam is a spy sent by the KGB to infiltrate Volgin's ranks. You'll need to be extremely careful in how you approach him. That's right. Adam won't show up if you're being pursued by the enemy. Before you go to rendezvous with Adam, make sure you haven't been seen by the enemy. Meet up with him in normal phase. Got it? Snake, let's go over the controls for CQC one more time. Press the CQC button once to throw a punch. Press it repeatedly to launch a combo attack. CQC doesn't really start to shine, however, until you grab an enemy. Press and hold the CQC button to extend your right hand and grab the enemy. Move the left analog stick at the same time and you can knock the enemy to the ground. If you don't move the left analog stick, you can get behind the enemy and hold him prisoner. When you're holding an enemy from behind, he'll be almost completely helpless. From there are a number of things you can do. By pressing the CQC button again firmly, you can slit his throat using your knife. By moving the left analog stick along with the CQC button, you can knock him to the ground. You can also choke the enemy by tapping the CQC button rapidly. You can either render him unconscious or kill him outright. It's up to you. If you keep the CQC button pressed, you can use the left analog stick to move around with the enemy in your grip. You can also press the weapon button to use the weapon you have equipped. The enemy will be hesitant to attack as long as you're using one of their comrades as a human shield. Use that moment of hesitation to attack in first-person view. By pressing in and holding the left analog stick, you can interrogate the enemy. You might be surprised at the things you can learn. But stay alert. While the enemy is nearly helpless in your grasp, if you give him a chance, he'll turn the tables on you. You can only grab an enemy using CQC when you're using a weapon that will allow you to reach out with your right hand, such as the survival knife, a handgun, or your bare hands. You can't grab the enemy when using weapons that take both hands to use, such as assault rifles, or that prevent you from controlling the enemy with your right hand, like hand grenades. In short, you can't use CQC when equipped with assault rifles or hand grenades. You can tell whether a weapon is compatible with CQC or not by looking at its icon. It looks like you've got rid of all the ocelots. Now proceed with the rescue of Sokolov. According to Eva, you should start by going to the crevice to the north, and what's that? There are no guarantees in espionage, Snake, only calculated guesses. At this point in time, the KGB stands nothing to gain by stabbing us in the back. I'm saying the chance that she'll betray you is low. Of course, we checked the route she gave you against our own data. It looks like a pretty solid infiltration route. It makes good use of weak spots in the enemy's defenses. You shouldn't have any problems. Follow the route Eva showed you and proceed with the mission. First, enter the cave through the crevice. Eva said it was to the north, so head that way. Snake, your number one priority in this mission is rescuing Sokolov. Eva said he is in the lab, so head over there. Do you remember how to get to the lab? Yes. All right, repeat it for me. Let's hear it then. And then? All right, let's go over this one more time. First, head north through the jungle. Enter the cave through the crevice to the north. Follow the cave to the end and you'll come out in an aqueduct surrounded by a mangrove. Follow the aqueduct to the north and you should arrive at a warehouse. Climb out of the water and enter the warehouse. After you've infiltrated the warehouse, pass through it to the north. Then you'll emerge in the woods again. The lab will be directly to the north. Are we clear now? Snake. That swamp seems pretty deep. It's probably deep enough to dive underwater and swim around. I see you're in the water, Snake. Snake, I see you're in the water. Unlike what you've experienced in training, you'll be able to fire handguns and assault rifles underwater. Keep that in mind. While underwater, pay attention to your O2 gauge. The O2 gauge is displayed whenever you hold your breath. It indicates how long you can continue to hold your breath. The O2 gauge will decrease over time while you're holding your breath. When the O2 gauge is depleted, your life will begin to decrease. To replenish your O2 gauge, you need fresh air. Make sure to take a breath before you asphyxiate. The length of your O2 gauge is affected by how much stamina you have at the time. If you anticipate operating for a long time underwater, you'll have to eat something beforehand to replenish your stamina. Press the crawl button when you're swimming on the surface to dive underwater. The controls when you're underwater are quite different from when you're on land. The left analog stick controls the direction you're facing. Press up, down, left or right to turn in that direction. Press the CQC button or the crawl button to move forward. Each button press will move you one stroke forward. Press the button repeatedly to swim faster. You can also press the action button to surface in an emergency. While you're swimming, you can use the right analog stick to look in a different direction without changing the direction you're going. Snake, you'll be helpless if a crocodile attacks you in the water. You can't see behind you when you're swimming, so if you're in a crocodile-infested swamp, keep an eye on your 6. Also, by using your sensors, you should be able to detect crocodiles before they get too close. Snake, be careful, that barbed wire is electrified and you'll get a shock if you touch it. It looks like there's no way to get over it. Didn't Eva say that the barbed wire doesn't receive proper maintenance? Look carefully at the bottom of the barbed wire. There might be a gap somewhere. If you find an opening, crawl through it flat on the ground. Snake, that area appears to be rigged with quite a few traps. The best way to avoid danger is to get some inside information. Eva is a KGB spy placed in the ranks of GRU. She probably knows a lot about what's going on. You might try asking her. Eva's frequency is 142.52. Another good way to get inside info is to capture and interrogate one of their sentries. That area is reportedly planted with claymore mines. Claymores pack quite a punch. Don't risk heavy injury. Be careful. Claymores are not completely buried in the ground. If you look closely enough, you can tell where they've been hidden. You can also pick up claymore mines by crawling over them. It'll be useful if you recover a few of the enemy's traps. Snake, look at that tree. See how the branches extend out to the other side of the barbed wire? I'll bet you could climb the tree, move from branch to branch and drop down on the other side. Snake, it looks like they've got attack dogs in that area. Attack dogs generally receive extensive military training in tracking and combat techniques. They're formidable close-range fighters and difficult to elude. Their barking can alert enemy patrols to your presence as well. Take care not to let attack dogs catch sight of you. Attack dogs may be dangerous, but they can't climb trees. If you've been cornered by attack dogs, try climbing a tree. Smoke grenades should prove useful as well. Good, you've reached the relay station, but stay alert. That station is an enemy strongpoint. The security is bound to be tight. Exactly. The crevice leading to the cave is in the north of that area. Find a way to slip past the enemy and head north. Snake, that building next to you is an enemy armory. Eva mentioned there was an armory in that area, didn't she? By destroying an armory, you can cut off the enemy's supply of ammunition. That should make your job a lot easier. Snake, that building next to you is a provisions storehouse. Snake, according to Eva, there should be a provisions storehouse in that area. By destroying a provisions warehouse, you can cut off the food supply to enemies in the surrounding area. It may be worthwhile if you have time and materials to spare. There's a gun emplacement installed over there. A gun emplacement is a grave threat in the enemy's hands, but a valuable weapon if you can occupy it. Stand next to a gun emplacement and press the action button to operate it. Press the weapon button to fire. You can use the aim button to zoom in on a target. Be aware, though, that the gun's ammo supply is limited. To move away from a gun emplacement, press the action button once again. Snake, are you okay? Snake! Snake. I see. Well, anyway, it's good to hear you're not injured. Slipping and falling may not have been part of the plan, but getting into that cave was. Proceed further into the cave. The cave seems to be structured like a maze, but there's an exit somewhere. Find a way out of the cave and head for the aqueduct. Are you hurt? Is it the enemy? Did they set a trap for you? Then what is it? Dark. So what you're saying is that it's going to take you a while because you don't have a flashlight. Snake, if you don't have a flashlight, you should be looking for a substitute. I tell you, American soldiers these days rely too much on ready-made equipment. What was that? American soldiers rely too much on ready-made equipment. And not only that, they can't seem to grasp that one piece of equipment can have multiple functions. Back when I was in the SAS, we never had that problem. We were trained to use every piece of equipment in as many ways as possible. If you don't have a flashlight, look for something else. You need to develop flexible, innovative thinking if you want to... Hey, are you listening to me? First, take a look at what you're carrying with you now. Don't you have anything that can provide you with some light? I know you have your cigars. You should at least be able to see the ground in front of you if you use a cigar. Try lighting one up. Snake, those hornets that attacked you while you were fighting Ocelot, so it was one of the cobras. Keep your guard up. The exit from the cave should be toward the back. Proceed through the cave and find the exit to the swamp aqueduct. I see you found your way to the aqueduct. If you follow it to the north, you'll come to a warehouse used for transporting supplies. Pass through the warehouse and you'll come out into a forest. The lab where Sokolov is being held is directly to the north of that forest, so head north. Right. Snake, she's been talking to you from inside an enemy facility. She's not always going to be able to answer the radio. Don't assume something's wrong just because you're not getting a response. Don't worry about Eva. Stay focused on your mission. Snake, the enemies in that area will use flares against you. When you're near the light from a flare, your camo index will go down. If the enemy fires a flare at you, you'd best dive underwater and hide. If you're spotted by the enemy in that area, they'll call in for mortar support from afar. Mortar fire is nothing to trifle with. If the enemy calls in for mortar support, get out of the area immediately. Is that clear? Snake, Eva mentioned something about a sniper rifle in the western part of Ponyzovier. A sniper rifle would certainly be a valuable asset to your mission. Swing by the western area and acquire that sniper rifle. Snake, the water in that aqueduct comes up to your waist. Naturally, you won't be able to walk as fast as usual. But you can jump into the water with a roll or press the crawl button to go underwater and swim your way through. Eva mentioned that that area was guarded by flying platforms. That area seems to be guarded by flying platforms. Be careful, they can see a great distance from up there. If a flying platform starts to draw near, you would do well to dive underwater and hide until it passes. Snake, the water in that aqueduct comes up to your waist. Naturally, you won't be able to walk as fast as usual. But you can jump into the water with a roll or press the crawl button to go underwater and swim your way through. Yes, they probably caught him trying to escape from the lab. Didn't Volgin say that they still needed to perform the final test? Then Sokolov must have been taken back to the lab. Get to the lab and get Sokolov the hell out of there. Pass through that warehouse and you'll come out south of the lab. Make your way inside the warehouse. Watch out for enemy sentries. The assault rifle can punch through materials like wooden boards. That means you can fire on enemies standing on top of the pier from underneath. Keep that in mind. Snake, get out of the water and infiltrate the warehouse. To get out of the water, move next to the place from which you want to emerge. Then, while you're treading water, press the action button. That device is a water gate. Normally, it'd be open to allow supply shipments to pass through, but it looks like it's closed right now. I don't think there's any way for you to open it. Snake, that gate appears to be locked from the inside. There's no way for you to open it. The passage on the east side of the warehouse should take you inside. Try sneaking in from the east. Good. You've infiltrated the warehouse. Pass through it and you'll come out south of the lab where Sokolov is being held. The exit should be on the north side of the top floor. Climb up the stairs and pass through the warehouse to the north. Be careful of enemy soldiers carrying shields. It'll be difficult to destroy those shields with just a handgun or an assault rifle. Either aim for their feet or use a grenade. Taking control of a gun emplacement might be a good idea too. It won't open? It's probably locked. Snake, you need a special kind of key to open that door. Right now, your top mission priority is to rescue Sokolov. Head for the lab to the north. It'll be difficult to keep a low profile inside a building, even if you're wearing camouflage. Keep a constant watch on your surroundings. Stay alert and don't enter the enemy's line of sight. You may be able to fool the enemy by disguising yourself as an object commonly found inside buildings. Snake, be careful around those lamps. Snake, listen up. When there are enemies nearby, try to steer clear of the lamps as much as possible. Snake, the lab where Sokolov is being held is to the north of that forest. Keep on heading north. Snake, watch out. It seems that forest is rigged with a number of traps. Most of the traps seem to be triggered by tripping a rope stretched across the ground. Don't just run around like a fool. Keep an eye on the ground and watch where you step. Some ropes may be placed so they're hidden in the vegetation. Be extra careful when you're cutting through the underbrush. If you use the directional buttons to move around stalking, you should be able to spot the traps before you step on them. Use stalking to move safely through suspicious-looking areas. Snake, look at your feet. That was a close call. The traps are set up to go off whenever a rope is disturbed. You might want to try cutting the ropes beforehand by shooting them from a distance. I know. It's probably a scientist who fled from the lab. I'd wager that the traps in those woods are set up more to deal with would-be escapees than to keep intruders out. It looks like there's a wire strung across those trees. I suspect it means that there's some kind of trap nearby. You can also grab onto the wire by hanging. Try climbing the tree and use hanging to cross the wire. Snake, have you been caught in a snare trap? If you don't get down from there soon, the enemy might spot you. Then why don't you get yourself down? It should be obvious. If you get caught in a snare trap, press the action button. That will allow you to cut the rope. Hurry and free yourself before the enemy comes around. It doesn't look like there's any way to open that door. Look for another way in. So there's a high wall around the perimeter of the lab. Climbing over it probably isn't an option. But there must be an entrance somewhere. Keep your eyes open. The best source of information about a facility is the people going in and out of it. Try interrogating one of the enemies about the entrance. To interrogate an enemy, grab him from behind using CQC and press the left analog stick to put your knife to his throat. Snake, take a closer look at those bushes. There's a hole in the wall. I'll bet you could crawl through it to get to the other side. Snake, the enemy appears to be using that door to enter and exit the lab. Think you can sneak in? What if you knocked on the door and got a soldier with the key to come out and open it for you? Snake, what's wrong? Did something happen? And so they took you back into the lab? Well, anyway, you've succeeded in infiltrating the lab. In that disguise, you should be able to move around the lab without arousing suspicion. Sokolov is somewhere inside that lab. Disguise yourself as a scientist and go find him. I see you've made it inside the outer wall. Sokolov is inside the lab. Look for a way in and use it to infiltrate the lab. Good, you've infiltrated the lab. The security on the inside is very tight. You'll find it difficult to look for Sokolov unless you're disguised as a scientist. Use the clothes that Eva gave you to disguise yourself as a scientist. To disguise yourself as a scientist, go into the survival viewer and select Scientist from the Uniform option on the camouflage screen. Just remember to remove your face paint. To remove your face paint, choose No Paint from the Face option of the camouflage screen. Be careful though. If you get blood on your clothes, the enemy will see through your disguise. If you do get blood on your clothes, go into the survival viewer and change into a different outfit. After a while, the blood should come out on its own. I see you're disguised as a scientist. It suits you rather nicely. As long as you don't do anything suspicious like roll or crawl, the enemy should have no reason to suspect you. Sokolov is somewhere inside that lab. Find out where he is and make contact with him. If you want to know where Sokolov is, why don't you ask one of the people around there? Snake, your disguise seems to be working. But don't forget that you're trying to pass as a scientist. Don't do anything that a scientist wouldn't do, like roll or crawl, and certainly don't go around punching people. If an enemy starts to suspect something, don't run away. Stay where you are and remain still. That should get you out of most situations. As long as you're disguised as a scientist, you won't be able to equip guns and knives. On the other hand, you might be able to equip items that don't look like weapons at first glance. Snake, be careful of those scientists as well. If they get a good look at your face, they'll know that you're not one of the scientists assigned to the lab. Take care to keep your face hidden from the scientists. Even if they figure out who you are, the scientists won't attack you, but you'll be in for it if they cry out or press one of the alarm switches on the walls. If a scientist starts to suspect something, turn your face away until the suspicion passes. If you get a chance, try interrogating a scientist. He might have some valuable information for you. Remove your disguise temporarily and use CQC to grab a scientist. Then press the left analog stick. Snake, enemy soldiers who operate indoors aren't equipped with radios. To communicate with command, they'll have to use the radio-equipped alarm systems located on the walls. If you're spotted by an enemy, you can avoid going into alert phase by taking him out before he can use the alarm system. Ah, you found some lockers. Lockers are a highly prized commodity among intelligence agents. Spies throughout the ages have used lockers to help them accomplish their missions. Of course I am. You can use lockers for any number of purposes. Hiding yourself, hiding the bodies of enemy soldiers, using the door as a shield. Use them wisely and they'll prove valuable during the mission. To hide inside a locker, first open the locker by standing in front of it and pressing the Action button. Once the door's open, you can enter the locker to hide inside it. To come out of the locker, just press the Action button again. To hide an enemy's body in a locker, simply drag the body in front of an open locker. You can also break the doors of lockers. If the door of a locker won't open and you're determined to get inside, try breaking into it. Snake, it looks like the door of that locker won't open. Maybe it's locked. Looks like that locker is missing its door. You won't be able to hide inside or use it to hide enemy bodies. You can't use that locker. If you need to use a locker, look for another one. But that's only what Granin told you, right? He may have been giving you false info. How can you be so sure? Good enough for me. According to Granin, you should be able to get to the mountains through a passage located deep in the jungle beyond the warehouse. Start out by going back to the warehouse. Use the key you got from Granin to open the door and proceed into the jungle. You remember where the door is, don't you? It's directly north of the door you went in when you came from the aqueduct. Snake, have you been contacted by Eva? Good. Hurry to the rendezvous with Eva. Head for the mountains. So I heard. And Sokolov is in Groznygrad now, putting on the finishing touches. Snake, get yourself over to Groznygrad. Proceed north through the woods. There's an entrance to a mine shaft at the far northeast corner. Climb up the shaft and you'll come out in the mountains. Head north, but stay on your toes. Isn't the Cobra unit sniper lying in wait for you? Watch yourself. Your opponent is a legendary sniper. Snake, you defeated another one of the Cobras, huh? But there's still someone else you have to fight, Snake. Good. But right now your job is to sneak into Groznygrad and rescue Sokolov. Rendezvous with Eva at the top of the mountains. According to her, the shaft leading to the mountains should be located in the far northeastern corner of the forest. Enter the shaft and head into the mountains. Proceed to the northeast. Snake, the ladder at the end of that shaft should take you up into the mountains. Proceed to the back and climb the ladder. You found your way to the mountains, I see. There's an underground tunnel near the top. You can use it to sneak into Groznygrad. But Eva said the door to the tunnel is sealed off. First, rendezvous with Eva and get the key from her. The rendezvous point is in the ruins at the summit. The summit is still further up the mountain. Keep heading up towards the summit. The summit is just up ahead. Proceed to the ruins at the top of the mountain. Eva should be waiting for you there. That's the entrance to the underground tunnel Eva was talking about. Can you open it? I see. It looks like Eva was right. The door to the underground tunnel won't open without a key. Rendezvous with Eva and get the key from her. Head for the ruins at the summit. Snake, Eva is a KGB spy placed in Gru. She can't be seen by the enemy making direct contact with you. If you're being pursued by the enemy, don't expect Eva to come out to meet you. Make sure it's normal phase before you attempt to make contact with Eva. Right now, you've got to lose the enemy. After you've returned to normal phase, you can go back to the ruins and try to open the door. Is that clear? If the enemies in that area catch sight of you, they'll call in for support from the Hind. The Hind's armor is impenetrable to normal fire, such as rifle bullets. But if you take over one of the anti-aircraft guns placed throughout the mountains, you should be able to take it on. You can also try using the RPG-7. What else could you use against a Hind? Well, I suppose a rocket launcher might do the trick. Snake, watch out for enemy soldiers carrying RPG-7s. A full-on rocket blast is not something you can just walk away from. However, it takes some time to reload a rocket launcher. Use that opening to your advantage. It looks like there's an anti-aircraft gun emplacement there. You can operate an anti-aircraft gun emplacement by standing next to it and pressing the action button. Use the weapon button to control the trigger. You can also zoom in on a target by pressing the aim button. The anti-aircraft cannon should be more than a match even for that attack chopper. But remember, its ammo supply is limited. Obviously, you can't move around as long as you're sitting in the seat. If the enemy gets too close for comfort, press the action button and get out of the seat immediately. Is that clear? Snake, paramedic has something to tell you. You've got the key from Eva. Now use it to enter the underground tunnel. The great fortress of Groznygrad is at the end of that tunnel. The door to the underground tunnel is near the center of that area, a little to the east. Get over there fast. The door to the underground tunnel is in the summit area. Hurry. It looks like you can get a nice panoramic view of Groznygrad from there. Perhaps you should scout it out now while you can. Just don't do anything too conspicuous. Remember that the attack chopper is still on patrol. Snake, where are you going? You won't get to Groznygrad by heading that way. You have to sneak into Groznygrad by going underground. There should be a door opening to the underground entrance near the middle of the summit. If you have the key Eva gave you, you should be able to open it. Go back to the summit and head underground. Snake, hold on. Do you know where you're supposed to be going? Tell me then. And do you know where the entrance to that tunnel is? Where is it? Over where? The entrance to the underground tunnel leading to Groznygrad is near the center of the summit area. Sokolov is in grave danger. Get a move on. Follow that tunnel to the north and you'll come out inside Groznygrad. Keep going north. You defeated the Fury, huh? That only leaves... Good. But your first priority is to get Sokolov out of the fortress. The ladder at the end of that underground tunnel should take you up into Groznygrad. Once the Shagohod is completed, there's no telling how long they'll let Sokolov live. You've got to hurry. The other side of that door is blocked by rubble as a result of the Fury's explosion. You won't be able to open it. Forget about it and continue your mission. Good. You've finally made it inside Groznygrad. Stay alert. This is the enemy's main base. The security here is on a scale you haven't encountered yet. Your objective is the weapons lab. It's the giant building in the center of the fortress. Sokolov is in the west wing of that building. To get into the area where Sokolov is imprisoned, you'll need to find Major Rykov, steal his clothes, and disguise yourself as him. Rykov is supposed to be in the east wing of the weapons lab. Start out by sneaking into the east wing of the weapons lab, then neutralize Rykov and take his clothes. The weapons lab is to the north of the area you're in now. Head north. The weapons lab is located in the center of the area you're in now. Head for the east wing of the weapons lab. The weapons lab is to the east of the area you're in now. Head east. The weapons lab is to the northeast of the area you're in now. Head northeast. Good. You've infiltrated the east wing. Rykov should be somewhere in that building. Take him down and steal his clothes. But you can't simply wander around the enemy's home base looking like that. For now, disguise yourself as a scientist while you look for Rykov. Rykov is somewhere within the east wing. Find him and dispatch him. Good. You've taken care of Rykov. Now to take those clothes he's wearing. But don't take his clothes off there out in the open. It's far too conspicuous. Also, once you've disguised yourself as Rykov, you'll need to find someplace to hide the real Rykov's body. There must be a place where you can take Rykov's clothes and hide his body. Drag Rykov's body over there. Eva might know a suitable location. Try asking her. Snake, where are you going? Are you planning to just leave Rykov's corpse there? If anyone discovers his body, you won't be able to disguise yourself as him anymore. You won't be able to get into the West Wing either, and your mission will fail. Hurry up and get back to Rykov's body. Drag Rykov's body into the locker room. The locker room is on the southwest side of the second floor. Be careful not to wake Rykov up while you're dragging him, and make sure you're not seen by enemy soldiers or scientists. If Rykov's corpse is found, you'll no longer be able to disguise yourself as him. Whatever you do, don't let them find the body. Is that clear? I see you've got Rykov's clothes from him. Disguise yourself as Rykov and infiltrate the West Wing, where Sokolov is being held. Select Officer from Uniform on the camouflage screen to change into Rykov's uniform. However, that won't be enough to pass as Rykov. To really become Rykov, you'll need to make your face look like his as well as your clothes. As for how you do that, well, I'll let you think about it. You can use the mask to make your face look like Rykov's. To wear the mask, select Mask from Face on the camouflage screen. No. Snake, you can't pass yourself off as Rykov simply by wearing his clothes. You need to make your face look like his as well. There must be a way to make your face look like Rykov's. Think, Snake. Ah, your Rykov disguise has turned out nicely.
Not even his own mother could tell the difference.
Indeed. You're starting to irritate me already. I wouldn't bet on it, but whatever. Now that you're indistinguishable from the real Rykov, you'll be able to get into the West Wing, to which only Volgin and Rykov have access. Head for the West Wing of the weapons lab. That's where Sokolov is being held. Enter the main wing from the second floor of the East Wing. Pass west through the main wing, and you'll come to a connecting passageway. The West Wing is at the other end of that passageway. Infiltrate the West Wing and rescue Sokolov. While you're disguised as Rykov, you can press the action button to perform a salute. If you want, why don't you try saluting some of the soldiers and scientists? Now that you're the spitting image of Rykov, no one will have cause to suspect you. But if someone finds Rykov hidden in the locker, your disguise will become useless. If that happens, your mission will end in failure. Whatever you do, don't open the locker. Is that clear? As long as you're disguised as Rykov, you'll be able to go anywhere in the fortress, and no one will suspect a thing. Now may be a good time to do a little exploring around the place. Snake, that passageway leads to the West Wing, where Sokolov is being held captive. But the only ones who can open the door to the West Wing are those sentries there. The only way to get into the West Wing is to disguise yourself as Rykov and get the sentries to open the door for you. Quickly, change into your Rykov disguise. You should be able to fool them with that disguise. Pretend you're Rykov and get them to open the door. You'll need to get Rykov's clothes from him first. Go back to the East Wing and take him down. Snake, those sentries are the only ones who can open the door. You won't be able to get into the West Wing if you knock them all out. You'll just have to go someplace else and wait for new sentries to be posted. Snake, wait! Are you just going to leave Rykov's body lying outside of the locker? If someone finds the real Rykov, you won't be able to get away with disguising yourself as him, and you won't be able to get into the West Wing either. In other words, mission failed. Go back and put him in the locker. Hurry! Snake, you're all right. Well, you've still got your radio and medical items with you. Perhaps Volgin's not finished with you just yet. In any event, it's a good thing for you that they didn't take your medical items. Snake, you've got to escape from that cell somehow. There must be a way. Use your head. The door of the cell seems to open in response to a specific radio frequency. Perhaps you've seen or heard it somewhere already. That's a shame. Come on, I know you've seen it. I remember it. No, I remember it. It just slipped my mind temporarily. Snake, I remember it now. The frequency was 144.75. I'm sure of it. Stand in front of the door and use your radio to send a signal on 144.75. Yes? And? The sound? Perhaps there's a hollow space beyond that wall. Try hitting it again. You may be able to break through. Snake, did it work? Did you make a hole in the wall? I see. Perhaps it's impossible to break through the wall with your bare knuckles after all. Snake, I see you've managed to punch through the wall. That hole should be big enough to pass through. There's no time to lose. Get out of there quick. Yes? A fake death pill? I haven't a clue. But if it's the work of the boss, then it probably means something. I wonder if it's meant to help you escape from the cell. If you don't know, how am I supposed to know? Snake, the guard has opened the door. Knock him out and get out of there. Snake, the door to the cell is open. There's no time to lose. Get out of there quickly. Snake, you say you've discovered a transmitter? Then you mustn't disappoint him. And you didn't disappoint him. Don't say it. You weren't able to rescue him, but that doesn't mean your mission has failed yet. Eva said they've completed Phase 2. There is no time left. You must destroy the Shagohod at all costs. That will be our final tribute to him. The boss gave you a gun? For what? Anyway, why don't you use that gun to shoot? Why not? I see. Well, you'll be able to get some once you're outside. First, you've got to escape from that cell. There must be a way. Don't give up. The manhole is in the northwest section of the fortress. Head northwest. The manhole is in the northwest section of the fortress. Head north. Snake, have you found any weapons? That's too bad. Those aren't going to do you much good. You call that a weapon? Without a decent weapon, attacking the enemy head-on is suicide. Until you get your gear back, your main focus should be staying out of sight. If by chance the enemy does see you, don't try to fight. Just run away. Got it? Snake, you're really going to feel the cold with no clothes on. Snake, now that you've lost even your CQC knife, you won't be able to use CQC. You won't be able to grab or throw enemies either. You can still throw punches by pressing the CQC button and launch combos by pressing it several times in a row. That'll have to do for now. Snake, now that all your clothing has been taken from you, you won't be able to camouflage yourself. Remember the basics of a sneaking mission. Stay out of the enemy's line of sight and proceed from one hiding spot to the next. Use caution. The waterfall where Eva said she'd meet you is up ahead to the north. Head that direction. Snake, I see you've recovered your weapons and equipment. Time to pay Volgin back for what he did to you. But first, you've got to destroy the Shagohod. The Shagohod is in the hangar in the main wing of the weapons lab. Go back to Groznygrad, make your way into the hangar and destroy the Shagohod. You can get back into Groznygrad by going to the end of the cave behind the waterfall. Head back to Groznygrad. Snake, you've got to destroy the Shagohod. It's located in the hangar in the main wing of the weapons lab. To get into the hangar, use the door just inside the main wing as you enter it from the second floor of the east wing. You can enter the main wing from the west side of the second floor. Head for the main wing. Start out by heading for the east wing of the weapons lab. The east wing is to the northeast of your location. Head northeast. The east wing is to the north of your location. Head north. There's a truck parked over the manhole, huh? I guess you won't be able to use that anymore. But there's no need for you to go back to the cave anyway. Your goal is to destroy the Shagohod. Head for the hangar in the main wing of the weapons lab. Snake, take a look at the guard towers. They've got sentries posted up there. The sentries in the guard towers will be using binoculars to watch over the place. They can see you even from a distance. Use extreme caution. Snake, your job is to plant the C3 charges on the liquid fuel tanks. There are 4 liquid fuel tanks. You need to place a C3 charge on each of them. The tanks should all be located close to the Shagohod. If the enemy disarms any of the charges, your mission will end in failure. Plant the C3 in as inconspicuous a place as possible. If it looks like an enemy is about to discover one of the charges, neutralize him immediately. Also, you mustn't let the enemy see you planting the C3. Consequently, you'll not be allowed to plant the C3 in alert phase. Is that clear? You've got 3 more tanks to plant C3 on. You've still got 2 more tanks to plant C3 on. Hurry! 1 more tank remains. You're almost there. Snake, be careful when you approach the liquid fuel tanks. Apparently, even the smallest disturbance will cause them to explode. Don't use firearms near the tanks. Snake, where are you going? Are you abandoning your mission? I didn't think so. Sokolov is back there in the factory. Head back north. The battery recharges automatically when not in use. When you want to recharge the battery, unequip all electronic devices and give it some time. The higher your stamina gauge, the faster your battery recharges. If you want it to recharge faster, eat food and recover your stamina. Also, if you run, roll, or do other dramatic actions, the battery will recharge faster. What is it? That's what I said. Oh, yes, I see what you're getting at. Let's have Paramedic explain that. Paramedic? My tea's gone. Who drank it? How am I supposed to have tea time without tea? Hey, my scone's gone too. You ate some food? You aren't expecting food to recover life, are you? Good. I once had a guy who thought that eating canned food would recover his life. Of sorts, yes. But in the 21st century, they'll probably come up with something that does just that. Listen up, Snake. Keep in mind that this operation is strictly covert. Engagements should be avoided. If you must dispose of an enemy, do it with the tranquilizer gun. That's right. And by the time he wakes up, you and Sokolov will be safely out of the country. What did you say? What did you say? You're going to drink that foul mud? On the victory flight home? Tea, of course. In the 2 years since Sokolov's asylum operation, I've spent all my time making preparations. And now is the time to show some results. Fox is a next-generation espionage organization designed to update us for 21st century operations that I propose to the CIA. Fox sends individuals who excel in espionage and special tactics on solo sneaking missions like this one. A next-generation unit that combines the skills of Special Forces units like the SAS and Green Berets with the know-how of an infiltration and espionage unit. What I'm trying to say is stealth. This is a stealth mission, crucial to the coming Cold War. The CIA director has always frowned upon Fox, but if this mission succeeds, Fox will be added to the CIA as an official unit. I intend to make Fox the leader in special operations, and to that end, this mission must succeed. I'm counting on you, Snake. Part of your mission is to demonstrate to the brass the core concepts behind Fox. Leave no evidence. That's the essence of Fox, and avoid engagement with the enemy. Not only that, I mean leave nothing behind, including weapons, equipment, footprints, sweat, even bodily waste. What? That's the American way? To handle defecation, you're going to bury it? Bring it home with you. That's what we did in SAS. The US Army is sloppy. They do things well, but not perfectly. Here in Fox, we're doing things my way. Got it? What is it? Major Tom? From a tunnel. That's right. Snake, have you seen the movie The Great Escape? It's a movie about a determined group of Allied POWs trapped in a German POW camp who plan an escape. The POWs dig 3 tunnels for their escape. They named them Dick, Harry, and Tom. Out of the camp? Of course. One of the tunnels was even discovered before it was finished, but eventually they do make it out. Yes, that's right. Well, actually, I'm not sure if I remember correctly. Oh, it's all right. It's Tom, Snake. Tom is the escape tunnel. Yes, no question about it. You mean naked snake? It's because snakes slither through the grass unnoticed to those around them. It means without embellishment, devoid of a specified quality. In other words, basic. I explained that the virtuous mission is designed to test the effectiveness of Fox, right? And the procedure used for this mission will represent the modus operandi of Fox for future missions. In other words, exactly. And there's the fact that you went in practically naked. No weapons, no equipment. Yes, clever, isn't it? But don't leave yourself naked to the enemy. Snake, what's the situation? What seems odd? It's a drill for a top-secret new weapon. Of course, security is going to be tight. Not a drill? You think they know about our operation? Be on guard. What is it? Yes? Manage what? That's exactly right. The plane, originally a special operations cargo aircraft based on the Air Force's C-130 transport, has been customized just for this mission. It can fly solo into Soviet territory to insert or retrieve special forces, and it has all the needed specs for this mission. It has a maximum speed of 380 miles per hour, cruising speed of 335 miles per hour, and a maximum altitude of 33,000 feet. For electronic equipment, it boasts terrain following and terrain avoidance radars, an inertial navigation system, radar alarm system, and a forward-looking infrared device. It even has chaff and flare dispensers. It's also equipped with enough firepower to dispense of forces that may attack you during your exit maneuver on this mission. 2 40mm machine guns and 2 20mm Gatling guns. Even the upper armor of the Soviets' main battle tank, the M62, is 30 to 36mm on the turret, 30mm on the body, so the gunship has plenty of power to take them out. And, as you said before, even if you were attacked by a tank unit, you'd be safe and sound. Isn't it, though? Must you ask me that question? You sure? Now? Yes, I'd say so. I will. Snake, I've completed the double check on the Fulton recovery system. None. Leave your recovery to us. I suppose I should explain the procedure once more before the actual maneuver. I see. Well, the Fulton recovery system allows for rapid recovery of personnel from enemy territory, and it's perfect for these kinds of special operations. Basically, how it works is the plane flies by and snags a nylon lift line that the soldier has grabbed onto, and that's been elevated by a balloon. The Fulton recovery system was first designed in the 1940s as a method of picking up mail for the American Postal Service. During the Korean War, that system was redesigned to recover personnel. JAC, an ancillary organization to the CIA. Yes, good old JAC. It stands for Joint Advisory Commission Korea. Isn't that something? So, JAC first used the Fulton surface-to-air recovery system to extract agents from North Korea and mainland China. Let's go over the procedure once more, to be on the safe side. First, the plane drops a canister about the size of a coffin to you. Inside, you'll find a balloon, a 1,500-foot cable, and a harness that attaches to your suit. Take the items out, attach the line to your suit, fill the balloon with helium, and send the line up. The plane will approach at 125 miles per hour. Snag the cable just below the balloon with a hook on the nose of the aircraft, and whisk you away. Assuming the pickup is successful, you'll be reeled in with a winch and pulled to safety into the rear of the aircraft. Got it? Snake, were you listening? All right, then. You did an excellent halo jump. Who cares? There are no records of your operations. What, you're embarrassed? It's the boss, isn't it? The boss has done a lot of work on the military study of halo jumps. And Snake here wanted to give a perfect performance on the first real jump, to show respect to the mother of the technique. Snake, I thought you were over and out. Yes, it's true. Halo stands for High Altitude Low Opening. It's a jump technique developed for covert insertions into enemy territory, just like the area you're in. A plane flies at 10,000 feet or above to avoid detection by ground forces, and the jumper free falls until he's within 1,000-foot altitude above the target area, when he finally opens his chute. By using this technique, the chances of revealing the parachute landing to the enemy are marginal. The halo technique was originally developed in France. This was partly due to popularity of parachuting as a sport since the end of World War II. And the boss was an instructor for the research that was carried out there. In 1957, at the JFK Special Operations Center at Fort Bragg, the boss was invited to instruct at the first ever US military halo school. Of course, none of this is on the record, but she's the mother of modern-day special forces. Snake, the fake death and revival pills we gave you are the latest in internal medicines developed for intelligence ops by the CIA's technology division. You can use the fake death pill to send yourself into a death-like state for a limited period of time. Use it wisely, and you should be able to fool the enemy into thinking you're really dead. It may come in handy if you ever find yourself cornered. To revive yourself from the fake death state, use the revival pill. But remember, timing is critical. The effect will be ruined if you revive right in front of your enemy. What do you mean? Well, Snake, about that, paramedic, I think Snake understands now. Isn't that right, Snake? Yes, you do that. The Soviets have a number of secret design bureaus like this one, each engaged in cutting-edge research. OKB-1, the bureau where the Voskhod spacecraft was developed and which plays a leading role in the Soviet space program, is one of those installations. Most of them are located in secret cities built in isolated areas, and we don't even know their exact locations, much less the nature of their research. And Sokolov's OKB-754 is the most secret bureau of them all. The intelligence communities of the West have tried time and again to find out what they're working on, but they've failed consistently. We've got nothing. From the boss. That's right. She has her own intelligence channels that she cultivated during the last war. She shared what she learned with us. That we were able to get the green light for this mission at all is thanks to her pull with the powers that be at the CIA. In other words, this mission would never have come together without the boss's help in a number of respects. I assume you already know that Sokolov was the developer of the multi-engine cluster. The multi-engine cluster is exactly that, a system for fitting a single rocket with multiple engines. The Vostok rocket, for instance, had 32 engines. With the technology they had, it was difficult for the Soviets to develop large engines with massive thrust. So instead, they decided to focus on using multiple smaller engines to achieve the desired thrust. With this method, though, maintaining the fuel balance between the various engines was a major problem. Sokolov was the man who provided the solution. Apparently so. Well, that's my best guess. We don't know for sure, but I'm counting on you. Snake, are you wearing that mask again? Yeah, well, for some reason I don't like it. Something about that face just rubs me the wrong way. Well, that mask was originally created for use in another mission. An agent was supposed to disguise himself as a Soviet officer and sneak into an enemy installation. We had it all set to go, but certain circumstances forced us to abort the mission. With the mission cancelled, the mask was going to be thrown away, but the guy at the CIA's tech division who created it pitched a fit. He said it was too good to throw away. According to him, that mask is a revolutionary new design that lets the wearer blink, something that wasn't possible up till now. Yes, I thought so too, but for some reason he's obsessed with making it blink. Well, he does good work, but I spend 3 days a month just dealing with the complaints we get about him. Oh well, never mind. Anyway, I decided to put this mask we had in storage to good use by hiding your identity from the gunship crew. That's right. That's not going to be a problem. The man the mask is based on is a GRU officer. You're in the KGB's sphere of influence. Chances are you won't run into him. Beat the crap out of him. Snake, stay alert. The KGB and GRU both have their sights set on Sokolov. GRU is a military espionage outfit, the intelligence wing of the Soviet Defense Ministry's General Staff Office. It competes with the KGB, which is under the Ministry of Internal Affairs, and the two are always watching each other. Exactly. Now, added to that rivalry, there's a vicious power struggle going on between the Khrushchev faction and the anti-Khrushchev faction. That's the idea. The two factions are fighting over Sokolov. We're in an extremely dangerous situation here. Get Sokolov out of there safely. He must not be turned over to the KGB or to the GRU. Sokolov took off in the direction of the rope bridge. Get after him. Hurry! In 1957, the Soviet Union succeeded in launching their first artificial satellite, Sputnik, into orbit. Having been beaten to the chase by the Soviets, the US government accelerated its own space program in an effort to catch up. The following year, the space development programs of the various service branches were united to form the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, or NASA. That same year, the Mercury program was launched with the goal of putting a man into space. 7 candidates were chosen from the military as the first astronauts. These were the men with the right stuff. But as you know, it was a Soviet cosmonaut, Yuri Gagarin, who made the first successful manned spaceflight 3 years ago. NASA's first successful ballistic flight came 1 month after Gagarin's mission, with the Freedom 7 carrying Alan Shepard into space. After that, with America still lagging behind the Soviets in orbital flight, President Kennedy made a momentous decision. That America would put a man on the moon before the end of the decade. But rocket research and missile research are closely related. Imagine, if you will, a Soviet Union able to send wave after wave of nuclear missiles raining down on Washington from a base on the surface of the moon. Even if that's still a long way from reality, if we lose the initiative, we may never get it back. We're left with no choice but to keep moving forward one step at a time. The Gemini program, launched 2 years ago, represents the initial step towards establishing a moon base. And yet, I don't want to call President Kennedy a liar, but I simply can't imagine that in 6 years man will have reached the moon. Perhaps you're right. Yes, we formed the 22nd SAS Regiment together. When the SAS, the British Special Air Service, was first established, they invited the boss on board as a special advisor. In fact, you might say it was the boss who put together Rayforce and L Detachment, which laid the groundwork for today's SAS. You won't find her name in the history books, but her contributions were many and great. Not in our line of work, anyway. The dummy run on Heliopolis and the nighttime raids on German air bases in North Africa were her idea as well. Yes, she was always one step ahead of the rest of us, both in thought and action. It's true what they say, who dares wins. Precisely, the motto itself is a tribute to her service. Needless to say, the SAS has become a model for special forces units all over the world. In that sense, the boss really is the mother of special forces. No. What about you? We're looking into it. Snake, you've got more important things to worry about than contacting the boss. Right now, Sokolov is out there wandering around the jungle alone. What are you going to do if he gets caught by the enemy? We're still looking into why we lost contact with the boss. I'll let you know as soon as we find anything out. In the meantime, it's your job to find Sokolov and get him to safety. Got it? OKB-812. It's the same type of top-secret facility as Sokolov's own OKB-754. The director is a man by the name of Alexander Leonovich Granin. He's Sokolov's arch-rival, and the two have competed fiercely against each other since the days of the war. To hear Sokolov tell it, though, the rivalry was really all in Granin's head. In any case, Granin seems to harbour an unusually intense hatred for Sokolov. Knowing that Sokolov was protected under the aegis of Khrushchev, Granin threw in his lot with Volgin, the vanguard of the anti-Khrushchev movement. Apparently, Granin meant to use the funds provided by these opposition forces in order to defeat his old foe. Volgin, for his part, was intrigued by the possibility of using the high-tech weapons Granin created in the fight against Khrushchev. Thus, the two formed an alliance, and Volgin took the Granin Design Bureau under his control. Yes, it would seem that he and Granin aren't getting along so well after all. Yes, a most dangerous man indeed. His name is Yevgeny Borisovich Volgin. His code name in the West is Thunderbolt. He's gained a reputation as the most brutal and cold-blooded of the Soviet spy masters. During the war, Volgin was assigned to the domestic branch of the NKVD. He was stationed in the rear of the Soviet line to catch and punish any troops who tried to retreat or desert. He's also notorious for his accomplishments in anti-guerrilla operations in the Ukraine and the Baltic states. Apparently, he likes to boast that he disposed of over 100,000 anti-communists. We also know that he was instrumental in putting down the 1953 insurrection in East Germany and the 1956 uprising in Hungary. He is truly a fearsome man. There's no telling what he might be plotting. Be careful. I did. No, the 9th Directorate. Yes, exactly. It's the unit that protects the Kremlin and provides bodyguards for high-level VIPs. That's the idea. I don't know. What I do know is that the director of the 9th Directorate is a well-known protege of Khrushchev. The Premier may have wanted to assign this mission to someone he knew he could trust. Ever since the withdrawal from Cuba, Khrushchev's position has been getting weaker day by day. This secret test is an act of desperation by a cornered man. If nothing else, the completion of Sokolov's new weapon in this test should help re-establish Khrushchev's authority in Moscow. Most likely, Khrushchev must have anticipated this and sent his most loyal unit, his trump card, to make sure that all goes well. Just leave it there. Yes. Yes, it is. After the U-2 spy plane incident 4 years ago, plans were laid out for future spy missions in Soviet airspace to be carried out by an unmanned craft. That craft was the D-21 spy drone, the basis of the one you came in on. The D-21 is launched from a craft called the M-21. The M-21 itself is a derivative of the A-12, a supersonic long-range spy plane currently being developed as the successor to the U-2. However, for this mission, we used a modified YF-12A, a long-range interceptor version of the A-12. After being released from the mothership, the drone can achieve speeds upwards of Mach 3 at high altitude using its ramjet engine. It can't be shot down by ground-to-air missiles, and it's nearly undetectable by radar. With Selinoyarsk in such a high state of alert after our last escapade, this was the only reliable way to get you in. That's right. The purpose of Operation Snake Eater is to send an American agent into the field in order to eliminate a defector and traitor, namely the boss. Part of that mission involves making sure the Soviets find out what we're doing. Don't worry, the technologically sensitive components of the craft were rigged to self-destruct when it landed. The only thing the Soviets are going to find is a pile of American-made scrap metal. What is it? I'll let them know. The Soviet intelligence community must be up in arms about the boss's defection. The great voyevoda has abandoned America and embraced the Soviet Union. Apparently, that's what they call the boss behind the Iron Curtain. It means warrior or mighty soldier in Russian. When used to refer to a woman, it means something close to Lady Knight. In Russia, where they've had a number of female emperors throughout their history, it's a term of great respect, well, poetic in a way. The boss's exploits have made her name famous in the East as well. I don't know, but I will tell you this, America is all too eager to get rid of her. She knows too many of our secrets. If she were to relay all the top-secret information she knows to the Soviet bloc, it would put us at a severe disadvantage. It might even lead to the downfall of the West. Even if we survive, the boss is still too much of a hero to us. With her in the Soviet camp, we'd suffer a fatal loss of morale at home. There are even whispers that some of the less stalwart elements of the military might follow her example and defect themselves. I assume you're aware that since your last mission, several key figures within the CIA have been placed under house arrest. The loss of the boss has been a painful one indeed. Me? I still can't believe it. As a comrade, I would have placed my trust in her before my own family. But now that I think about it, the boss always seemed to have an aura of mystery about her. I never would have expected it to manifest in this way, though. Oh well, it won't do to get all misty-eyed about it. She's an enemy now, worthy of nothing more than our contempt. What is it? Leave it alone, Snake. We've been through this before. Besides, asking for reasons now won't change anything. Then you'll have to find your own answers. Yes. In the Old Testament of the Bible, Eve was seduced by a snake into tasting the fruit of knowledge. By eating the forbidden fruit, Adam and Eve disobeyed God's command and were cast out from the Garden of Eden. Thus, it was the snake who led mankind into original sin. But the one who tempted Adam into eating the forbidden fruit was Eve. You may be working together, but she's still a KGB operative. Don't let your guard down. You mean fake currency? Snake, do you remember the Francis Gary Powers incident back in 1960? His confession brought to light the fact that the CIA was spying in Soviet airspace. As a result, the US-Soviet summit scheduled for 2 weeks later was cancelled. U-2 pilots are required to carry items that mask their identity. Powers was carrying ruble, mark and lira coins as well as French gold coins. He was also carrying 2 gold watches and 7 women's rings. All of these objects were meant to conceal his national origins. But for this mission, we've got to demonstrate to the Khrushchev regime that America is involved. There's no need to conceal your origins. And besides, all you need to do is complete your mission. As long as you're not captured or killed, the details will take care of themselves. Thanks to last week's nuclear incident, the Soviet Union is now on secondary alert. We're one step away from a nuclear war. In American parlance, yes. From what Western intelligence has been able to gather, the radical elements in the Soviet command are showing signs of impatience. They say we're on the brink of World War III here. And with Khrushchev's position getting weaker every day, I worry whether he'll be able to hold them back. Yes, America must eliminate the boss by its own hand to prove its innocence. There is no other way to resolve the crisis. Everything rests on your shoulders, Snake. Failure is not an option. I see you've equipped the binoculars. Are you finding them useful? Really? Sigint will be pleased to hear that. Because he made them. What do you mean? From what I hear, it took him more than a year to finish them. No, it was the style. Yes, he said he could never get the body design just right. Thanks to all his blasted tinkering, we went 3 times over budget. He'd better have a will ready before I get done with him. That's impossible. The drone shouldn't have been picked up by their radar at all. That's also out of the question. We've taken all measures to ensure this mission stays secret. I don't know. It won't do you any good to dwell on it, Snake. Yes? What do you mean? You want to know where it comes from? That's a bit nostalgic, really. The first British intelligence outfit was established in 1909. The head of the Foreign Intelligence Division was a man named Mansfield George Smith Cumming. He was referred to simply as C after the first letter of his last name. Since then, out of respect for Cumming, the heads of the SIS have traditionally taken the name of C. That's right, I myself was once known as O. Precisely. In another sense, though, it signifies a ghost, one whose true identity must remain a mystery, the primogenitor of the solo sneaking operation. Eva was right when she said that operating in an unknown jungle at night is extremely dangerous. In my former outfit, the SAS, we'd always be sure to set up camp before sunset and wait until daybreak before setting out again. Being able to stay in that abandoned factory made things a lot easier for you. You ought to be thanking Eva. Snake, I heard you got a scientist disguise from Eva. Go to uniform on the camouflage screen and choose scientist to disguise yourself as a scientist. But it won't do you any good to go around the jungle wearing a scientist disguise. You're right. No one would think of going around the jungle in a scientist disguise. If they did, they'd have to be a fool. More than a fool. A complete dumbass. Don't you think so, Snake? Snake? I should be asking you the same question. Why are you wearing that outfit? Did you listen to a word that I said? What are you thinking, dressing like a scientist in the middle of the jungle? Look at your camo index. You're a walking bullseye. Get back into your camouflage, now! What was that? What is it? The one from before? The one from the heliport? Perhaps it's an armed variation of the Mi-8 HIP. Then it's settled. We'll refer to that new type helicopter as a Hind from now on. The Hind you see parked at the heliport must not be ready to fly. You don't need to worry about it taking off. If you're going to destroy it, now might be your chance. I heard you defeated the Pain. 4. There are still 4 more Cobras left, including their leader, the boss. Good. Snake, did you kill another one of the Cobras? I'm pretty sure it was the end. Good work. Now you won't have to deal with him later. What's wrong? Surely you're not going to tell me you wanted to test your skills against a legendary sniper that even the boss respected? Snake, this isn't a contest or sport. This is war. The only thing you should be thinking about is carrying out your mission. No, not a thing. Make no mistake, we conducted a thorough investigation, but there was nothing about him having a mistress. That's impossible. I wonder. I don't think Sokolov would take a lover. I still remember him 2 years ago. After we got him across the border, the first words he spoke from his hospital bed, after he regained consciousness, were, "Are my wife and daughter safe?" And right up until the time he was taken back to Russia, he kept begging me over and over to take care of his family, almost as if he was delirious. Sokolov is a man who loves his family. Betraying his wife is something he'd... What is it? Maybe you're right. We've been analyzing our data, but so far we've been unable to find anyone matching that description. Maybe her posting was so obscure that we simply overlooked it. That's a possibility, but I'd be tempted to go with the first explanation. We'll keep going over the data. Eva must have bolted it from the inside. Think about it for a minute. Make sense now? Because of what? Snake, what the hell are you talking about? She obviously doesn't want the enemy to see her meeting with you. You've got a one-track mind. What a strange coincidence, though. Well, Rykov's full name is Ivan Rydenovich Rykov. Ivan is the Russian equivalent of John, and a common nickname for John is Jack. You know, in Russian folklore, the youngest son in a family often receives the shabbiest treatment, but is actually cleverer than his brothers, and has the happiest ending of all. That son is usually named Ivan. Really? I could have sworn you had several. Snake, have you found Rykov? What? Stop your blathering and go take him out already! What are you waiting for? Get going! No, it's just every time I think of that face it makes me furious. Doesn't it make you? Just get moving. Knock him out and steal his clothes. Snake? Snake! What happened? You've been acting strangely ever since you were washed down the river. I disagree. Yes. Did something happen to you in that river? Don't lie, Snake. I'm trying to help you. I'll believe it. I trust you. Yes? The other side? And by the other side, you mean... Oh, I see. Snake, would you excuse me for a moment? Paramedic, what in the hell is wrong with Snake? You really think that's all? I mean, he's always been a little bit different. I thought maybe... what is it, Snake? Well, in any case, I'm glad you're all right. I'll be your eyes. Makes me want to cry. It reminds me of something a certain spy once said. His name was Oleg Penkovsky, a Western spy who worked inside GRU. He was arrested by the KGB and executed last year. They say he sent a letter to the DCI at the time saying, "I must remain on this front line in order to be your eyes and ears." His code name was Hero. Yes, that's the world we live in. The Cynthia that Eva mentioned was a famous lady spy who worked for Britain during the Second World War. Her real name was Amy Elizabeth Thorpe. She was a lovely, intelligent woman, and she used those charms as a weapon to extract numerous secrets from the enemy. They say her most brilliant achievement was getting the French Vichy government's naval ciphers. But don't let yourself be taken in by Eva's charms. Huh? Snake, take a look in your backpack. Don't ask me, ask Eva. Incidentally, her nickname back then was Quack. Snake, her skills as a doctor are beyond reproach. You have my word on that. It's because she... Yes, that's it. Yes, you do that. By the way, Snake, what were you doing back there? You were giving some kind of advice to a GRU commander, weren't you? He's your enemy. What the hell were you thinking? That door appears to be locked from the inside. You won't be able to open it from the outside. But there must be some way to use the door to sneak inside. Well, she certainly seems to know a lot about Japan. It's part of their legend. The legend of the Cobra unit. I'll let Sigint explain. Sigint?